Good evening, everybody. Sorry for the late start. Welcome to the May 9th Planning Board meeting of the great city of Jersey City. If we could come to order, and please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. Could we have a sunshine announcement, please, Cam?
Yes, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. This is a Jersey City Planning Board meeting with a scheduled 5:30 p.m. start time. This planning board meeting is being held virtually as a video conference that is open to the public. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given to the editor of the Jersey Journal, the Jersey City Reporter, and posted with the city clerk on May 5th of 2023. This meeting was also posted on the Jersey City Division of City Planning webpage, and all distribution materials made available to the board were published and available to the public.
All right, thank you, Cam. Could we have a roll call, please, Mike?
I got you. All right, so Vice Chair Dr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Desai.
Here.
Commissioner Cruz.
Here.
Commissioner Torres.
Yeah.
And Chairman Langston.
Here.
We have 5 commissioners present. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I tried to put more work on Mike there. I apologize. But Mike, did you swear in the staff, please?
Sure. I see Cameron and Liz and Francisco and Matt. Do you guys swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Cam, do we have correspondence? I know we have a number of items carried tonight.
Yes, we do. So please bear with me. There's 13 items that are requesting to carry. So here we go. So under old business, item A on the agenda, case P22-197, address is 124 Glenwood Avenue. They have requested to carry with preservation of notice to June 13th. So that is your notice. Item 15 under new business, case P22-213, address is 824 to 826 Pavonia Avenue. They have requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. That is our next regularly scheduled meeting. Item 21 on the agenda, case P23-017, address is 115 Wayne Street. They have requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. Item 22 on the agenda, case P23-037, address is 141 Newark Avenue. They've requested to carry to May 23rd. No preservation of notice. Notice was not required. Item 23 on the agenda, case P23-027 for address 430 Palisade Avenue. They've requested to carry to May 23rd. Again, no preservation of notice. Notice was not required. Item 24 on the agenda, case P22-188. This is address 75 Vroom. This is withdrawn. So no carry, no preservation of notice. This will not be on an agenda. It is withdrawn. Item 26 on the agenda, case P23-038, address is 125 18th Street. Requests to carry to May 23rd. No preservation of notice. No notice is required. Item 27 on the agenda, case P23-004, address is 32 to 34 Jones Street. Request to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. Item 28 on the agenda, case P22-086, address is 527 Newark Avenue. They've requested to carry to May 23rd. No preservation of notice, no variances, and it's a minor site plan. Item 30 on the agenda. This is case P22-164. Address is 337 Johnston Avenue. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. Item 31 on the agenda, case P 23-053. Address is 770 Washington Boulevard. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. And lastly, we have item 32 on the agenda, case P 23-006. Address is 143 to 145 Monticello Avenue. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd. So those are the requests to carry.
All right, thanks, Cam. And once again, if you're here for any of those applications, this would be your notice. These are carrying all of their notices, so keep an eye on our agenda online, and we'll get to them when they come back. All right, so let's call under old business. Item B is case P 23-001, is a one-year site plan extension for 20 Carbon Place.
Okay. Promoting Gerard Pizzillo.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. Gerard Pizzillo from Genova Burns on behalf of the applicant, 20 Carbon Place. Simple one-year site plan extension request from the preliminary and final major site plan approval that this board granted on December 8th, 2020. Post the approval, it was for a preliminary and final major site plan with a minor subdivision. Post the approval, there was litigation with the adjoining landowners that really impacted the ability to move forward with this. We were successfully able to resolve the litigation. There will be some changes to this project as a result of that litigation, but we wanted to move forward with this site plan extension for 1 year. It would run through, should the board grant the approval or grant the extension request, it would run through January of 2024. But we expect to be before this board again before that time with our revised project. Board memorialized the resolution on January 19th, 2021. It's in the mid-rise zone B of the Culver Route 440 redevelopment plan and governed by those provisions. And on for the record, if the board does grant the extension, we agree that all the conditions set forth in P 20-025, which was the initial approval, will remain in full force and effect. Happy to answer any questions the board has, but that is my presentation.
All right, thank you, Council. Anybody, any questions for Gerard?
Yeah, Council, so even if you make changes, you're still willing to go by the conditions set forth before? That's what you're saying?
Well, I think if we make the changes, we probably have a new set of conditions that
Okay.
we have to get before you guys. So the changes are the conditions as part of this one are in effect, but realistically, we
ones that are-
can't build the building because of the litigation. So there will be new conditions, I suspect.
Oh, I just wanted to be clear on it. That's all.
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Eddie. Anybody else? All right, is there anybody here from public that wants to comment on this application? If so, please raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hands.
Mr. Chair, I see no public. I move to close the public.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Public is closed. Tim isn't here, I guess.
Yeah.
Tim?
The applicant's attorney has addressed our only concern that the conditions remain in effect. Planning staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P 23-001 as presented to the board tonight.
Second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval.
Vice Chair, Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries all in favor with
Okay.
conditions.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Have a nice night.
Thanks, Council.
Good to
You
see
too.
you.
All right, let's move on to item 9 is case P 22-. 228 is a conditional use for 547 West Side Avenue.
Promoting Chirali Patel.
Good afternoon or good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
We can, yes.
Great. So my name is Shirley Patel, Blaze Law Firm, on behalf of Lady L Cannabis, Liliana Holland. The applicant is on, as well as the architect. I believe Nicole, if you guys are able to bring them up. We're proposing a Class 5 cannabis retailer application. It's a micro business located at 547 West Side Avenue, Block 19202, Lot 50. We're currently in the neighborhood commercial zone, which is a permitted use for these types of establishments. We comply with the separation requirements as far as being, we're not within 200 feet of a school, daycare, church, etc. And as far as the separation distances between other establishments, the regulations do permit for micro businesses that are within neighborhood commercial zone for 2 establishments on the same block. So I believe we meet that requirement as well. We've submitted the entire packet after we received unanimous approval by the Jersey City Cannabis Control Board on December 14, 2022. The applicants also received their conditional license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission as of August 23rd, 2022. So this is a second step in the procedural hearings, and we just want to make sure that we can address any questions that you guys have. We've submitted a full packet along with the workforce development plan, community plan, odor mitigation plans, etc. We're not proposing to do any exterior work as far as renovations. It's really just a minor facade change with respect to signage. So strictly interior work. Currently, it's a hair salon. So it's just over 1,500 gross retail square feet. It's going to be converted to be a safe and secure micro boutique that's women-owned, local Jersey City resident. Liliana is on, and I believe she would like to testify on a number of things just to address some of the staff recommendations with respect to odor mitigation and any other questions you guys may have.
Excuse me, who is the architect?
The last name is Chicarico, and Nicole should be the first name.
Okay, thank you.
And then Liliana Holland.
I got it.
Okay.
So Cam, while we bring that up, good evening, council. I do have a copy of your notice. So Chairman, for the purpose of the record, I am received the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 547 West Side Avenue. I've had the opportunity to review it. It appears to be in order, and we can mark it as A1 for purposes of the record. And then Chairman, obviously we have heard multiple cases regarding the conditional use for cannabis. So perhaps if council would like to put up the witness, they can give a very brief overview, but perhaps we turn it over to questions from the board if there are any.
Thank you, counsel. I'd like to call Liliana Holland, please, as a witness.
Hi, Liliana. I just need to swear you in before you speak. All right, if you could raise your right hand. You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
Sure. First name is Liliana, Liliana. Last name Holland, Hollandt.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I understand we have a packed agenda. If everyone can hear me well, I'm just going to quickly introduce myself. Liliana Holland, CEO and owner of Lady L Cannabis, a Jersey City resident, proud resident, currently residing in the Bergen Lafayette neighborhood, about 10 minutes away from the proposed retail location site on West Side Avenue, deeply embedded in the community, participating at a communal level as a mother, as a woman, and now as a female entrepreneur, minority owned by me, 100% owned business. The idea behind Lady L Cannabis is really build on a couple of pillars: service the community, learn about the community, embed myself in the community, and educate the community on the benefits and everything that the cannabis flower can offer, cannabis flower and products. I have a lot more information in my application. I'm happy to either share it with you later. I would rather answer some questions because I am very passionate about my project, about my business, and I don't want to take the entire evening talking about just myself. So the floor is open and I'm happy. I'm a chatter. I would love to talk, so I want to save you from that.
Ms. Holland, we appreciate it. We'll reserve that right if we want to bring you back up for questions, but this board is more concerned with the architectural aspect, but I'd love to stop by anytime and chat all day long. I wish I could do that for a living.
Please.
Thank you, Chairman. If we don't have questions for Lily, I'd like to call Nicole as a witness, please. who can
Sure,
speak to
sounds
the
good.
architectural and site plans. Thank you.
Do you mind to also to call in Bill, as he also is with Tricarico Architecture and Design, our firm, who's on the call. If we could let him also in.
Can you say that name one more time? I did not hear you.
Bill Manuelitis, he should be on as one of the participants,
Okay.
but I can certainly state my name when you're ready.
Okay, he's joined us.
All right, and I'll swear you in, Nicole, if you could raise your right hand. You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
Nicole Tricarico, NicoleTricarico.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Carrico, good evening. If you could just give us your background, your professional licensing, and whether your license is current tonight in the state of New Jersey.
So I'm Director of Design for Tricarico Architecture and Design. I am a professional interior designer. I do have a certificate working in the state of New Jersey. I'm not an architect of record of this project. Tricarico Architecture and Design is one of the architects, the owner of our firm. But I did work on these plans along with Bill in our office.
Okay, counsel, do you have a licensed architect in the state to present to us, or
Bill,
No, licensed architect is Nick Tricarico for the firm.
okay, let's just get you sworn in, sir.
Sure.
Hi, Bill. If you raise your right hand, you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes,
And for the record, could you state and spell your name, please?
sure. Bill Manuelitis, BILLMANOLIADIS, Vice President of Architecture at Tricarico.
Thanks.
Mr. Manolitis, good evening. You prepared the plans, or Mr. Carrico prepared the plans?
The plans were done through the design team, which Nicole Tricarico heads.
Okay, so let's just qualify you as an expert. If you could just give us your professional background, your licensing, and whether that license is current tonight in the state of New Jersey.
I'm not licensed in the state of New Jersey. My background is 30 plus years in the industry, 12 plus years with Tricarico Architecture and Design, working on cannabis facilities since 2017. This is our 6th or 7th in the state of New Jersey, and we've been doing cannabis dispensaries coast to coast for the last several years.
Okay, thank you, sir. So counsel, what we can do is if Mr. Carrico is the designer of record, we could qualify her as a fact witness. We can't qualify her as an expert, being that she's not licensed in the state of New Jersey.
okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. So counsel, the floor is yours. Go ahead with your presentation.
Sure. So Nicole or Bill, whoever wanted to take the lead here with respect to the site plans, can you just walk the planning board through the interior renovations that are happening and then as well as the exterior facade?
Yes, I can do that.
Are we going to share the
I'm
presentation?
going to share my screen.
Are we allowed to share the screen?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there anything in the presentation that wasn't in our presentation set?
No, I can walk
Okay.
you through verbally if you have the plan in front of you, or I can certainly share it.
Whatever you prefer, the floor would be yours.
You can go ahead and share the plan. The purpose of the
Yes.
question was more
Sure.
as to whether or not we mark it because it wasn't submitted prior to the application. So if everything in the plan is what has been submitted with the application, then we don't have to mark it.
It has. Please let me know when everyone can see my screen.
Okay, we can say it.
Perfect, thank you. As Lily had mentioned, Lady L Cannabis will be at 557 West Side Ave in Jersey City. I'm going to share the main front of the building. And please bear with me. Existing conditions, it was a hair studio. Adjacent to us is a restaurant on the right, and to the left, a realty apartments above. There was a main entrance in the center with glazing on either side. So we're looking to do minor renovations to the front, which include, this is the existing conditions above, which is a photograph of the existing conditions, and proposed would be some new signage. Excuse me, new entry door to the left and some new glazing to the right that will avoid the Bilco door to the right that's at the sidewalk. We're going to put some new paint finishes on, 3 paints that we're selecting, and roll down grill. So there's an existing roll down grill there currently, and we're looking to refurbish or new. And we comply with the signage requirements of the neighborhood. And this is the proposed signage with the address and some aluminum painted sign with 1-inch black metal frame around. Any questions? Let me go back to the rendered elevation. Any questions in regards to the storefront and the work proposed?
I have none. Anybody else yet?
Yeah, I do have one question about.
Go ahead, doctor.
Yeah, I want to know about the lighting on the frontage,
So there's some lighting on the underside that will relamp with new lighting, all LED lighting at the right here. You could see above at the overhang. So we'll have some relamping and putting in some new lights. Also with the security, there'll be cameras. There's a security plan, so there'll be cameras. The doors will have locks to them. We'll have a security guard. So there will be a lot of security and lighting at the storefront windows, though they'll be frosted out so you cannot see into the dispensary. We'll ensure that there's enough lighting for security purposes.
Council, one condition we generally ask for on any retail establishment of whatever business it would be is that those lights are only on during business hours.
Yeah, I'm sure the applicant's definitely happy to comply with that.
Okay.
Yes, those lights can be put on a time clock and comply to
Okay.
the city regulations.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, continue with your presentation.
I have one quick question. just,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Torres. I don't need to get into detail, but when I look at other floor plans, I know you haven't got to that yet. The door entrance that leads to upstairs, it's not part of that floor plan. Right? You're not showing that in any of the drawings. The door that say 547 on it right now.
Correct. This is access to the apartments above and will not have any access to the dispensary.
And when it's not on the drawer, it's not on the drawings because of that reason. It has nothing to do with the dispensary, and it goes straight upstairs, right?
It should go straight upstairs. No access to dispensary, correct,
Okay.
Liliana?
Thank
That
you.
that is correct. It's
Yes.
completely separate entrance with a completely separate stairwell, staircase, to the
Yes.
second and the third floor, completely
Yes.
isolated.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Clean that up. Okay.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
Okay. I'm going to get to the floor plan. Okay. I'm gonna zoom in so everybody can also see. And I apologize if it's a little slow for some reason. I'm not sure why, but okay. At the main entrance, can everybody see my screen yet? Okay. The main entrance, new entry door, as I mentioned, when you come in, there'll be an ID check where you will have your ID checked before you can enter into the actual dispensary sales floor. You will be able to, as a customer, go directly to the POS where you can encounter an employee, a bud tender, and either pick up your product as you may have pre-ordered, or you can discuss product with that bud tender and kind of walk around the sales floor to kind of look at what the product and assortment will be. No cannabis out, everything will be empty packaging and locked cases. And as you can see, the main floor is around gross 395, the main sales floor, some fixturing along the perimeter walls, the POS center. There'll be kind of a back wrap and some pass-through windows to the secured vault, which is about 158 gross square feet. That vault will store the cannabis product. It will be a place for fulfillment and processing. And then also there'll be just a small pantry area, and then a compliant ADA restroom that's accessible to the customers and also to the staff. Back entrance, or excuse me, back exit door is only used by staff. It'll be secure. There's a security grill on it. It will not be accessible to any customers for any use at all. And it is not a second means. It could be used as a second means of egress, but not required by code to be one. There's also a secured door here that will go down to the basement, and the basement is not accessible. It'll be just it houses the electrical panels for the building, HVAC, but it's not accessible, no use.
Okay, this is Commissioner Torres again. I'm sorry that is the hallway and the stairway that's going upstairs, right? That section that you just, where the secure door is?
No, this door will go downstairs.
No, I understand that, but when we go to the front of the building, there's the door right there. That leads to
all the doors have to be secure. They will all have card readers on them. They'll have door breaks.
So from the hallway, there's two doors. There's two more doors that lead. One is a closet. I don't know where that's going. And the other one is a secure door. What am I looking at?
It's a closet. So when you, if you don't mind me, Nicole, so you go straight, and when you go straight, you'll see the staircase up. If you go slightly to the right, there is a closet that will be secured, as well as the second door leading to the basement. There's a little space right here to the side that will be extension to the wall. So that closet will be accessible to tenants, but will not be accessible to the basement. So there's no way for them to come to the store through any of these hallway doors.
So the secure door that goes to the basement, it's only inside the business area, not
That is
the
correct.
hallway.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. So I come up, I go up the stairs,
That is
and
correct.
if I wanted to go downstairs, I have to be inside your space.
Or you can go, there is a hatch outside, which is locked, and as the building owner,
Yeah, that's
have
out
to
in the back, in the front of the, okay,
Yeah.
yes.
So I have control of all of this. It's all part also of the security plan. We have a very extensive SOP that I'm happy to
Well,
share.
I just wondered, so the closet space will not be housing any material, anything that
Nope.
deals with.
Nope, not
the
acceptable at
business.
all.
Okay,
That is correct.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have, if you allow me 1 second, I do have a question about the basement access. So the only basement access for any utilities for the tenants upstairs is through that hatch?
That is correct. My experience so far shows me that they come, I have full control of it. And if there's any need, they're renters. If there's any need, they come to me. and I allow for whether PSG or any other work that needs to be done. So everything is vetted through me. This will not change.
What happens in emergency situations?
I'm sorry,
No,
emergency?
I'm sorry to interrupt that way.
Yeah, it is part of the emergency protocol. Everything is going through me. I'm going to be the main point of contact for the neighborhood. So one way or another, I will be the person vetting any need for access.
I have a question. If the PSG guy comes or the water meter comes, how do they get inside? They have to contact you and go downstairs?
Yes, I will be on the premises, and that's how we do it today anyways. Because we don't want to bother the tenants in the retail stores. So I will let them in. There are also options to add meters. Both Veolia and PSG have meters that allow for outside reading. That's what I have in my residence, and that's how I plan on fixing and installing pretty much for limited access. We want to make it as seamless as possible.
My only concern would be emergency access, fire department, something like that. If there was a gas leak in the basement, they would have to contact you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, are you on site?
I
know
will
this
be
is a
on
strange
site.
question.
Yeah, I will be on site during, the initial process, as well as soon as the store is operational. As the owner of the building, that's how I've been dealing with it since August. That's when I acquired the building, since August of 2022.
So my concern would be if the fire department needed access after hours. Again, if there was a gas leak or something of that sort, the only way to that basement is through that opening on the outside.
The street hatches, yes.
Okay, and the only other access is through the shop.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, go ahead with the presentation, please.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the circulation, the floor plan, adjacencies, the vaults? It's a very small space, so.
Understood. Yeah, just continue on with the presentation. We'll save our questions for the end.
Okay. Besides just, this is the floor plan, we don't have any interior elevations as we're going through the planning board review, and the next steps would be, once approval, to start, the further design and the construction documents for permit. Any questions regarding just interaction between customer and the staff and how that works? I mean, mostly when you come in, you will have to get your ID checked, and then it's really the experience for the customer with the store, the product, and with the bud tender.
If we could, let's hear the testimony on the security system.
I can speak to that if that's okay.
Sure.
Are you interested in anything in particular? Because it is, it's more than just the security camera, just the way we have built this. It's a safety and security plan that accounts for personnel, surveillance features, access and visitor management. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of the items, and you can tell me if you'd like me to double click on some of those.
Perfect. That works.
Perfect. So it's a safety and security plan. Our partner is Sapphire Risk Advisory Group. It's Tony Gallo's team. They've been an excellent partner through, working with us on the plans, building the plans, and then building the safety and the security plan. So they're well-versed in the space. They're well-versed in their industry. So everything, and the cannabis space, and everything has been pretty much thought through with the compliance with state and local requirements in mind, making sure that we have the latest, electronic system, preventing theft and diversion of cannabis. So the way we're approaching it is we're going to approach it from various different sides. So we recognize that cannabis regulations are likely to be revised, so we remain open and flexible to updating from time to time. As part of the SOPs, we have discussed that there will be constant ongoing, consulting from Sapphire Group in order to stay current. So security personnel, critical. We're going to be looking to hire or contract professional security guards dedicating to ensuring the safety of the physical premises, checking IDs, maintain an overt competent appearance, and establish a peaceful, safe, and reassuring atmosphere in line with the business, pathos, in line with what this Lady L Cannabis represents in the neighborhood. Their presence will discourage loitering, suspicious activity, criminal behavior, theft, and diversion of cannabis products. The personnel will be either on-site or performing periodic perimeter patrols during all operating hours, and primarily responsible for checking valid government issued age verification documents to ensure consumers are qualified to enter the premises. Daily activities include monitoring activity within the premises and the perimeter for suspicious activity or activity preventing loitering and on-site consumption, surveying the perimeter during shipping and receiving operations, requesting IDs from unfamiliar individuals in restricted areas, reporting any intruders to emergencies immediately, and keeping security logs, including name, date, time, and any areas monitored. We have also discussed additional security personnel that may be responsible for monitoring alarm and video surveillance systems during operating and non-operating hours. We can contract them through Lady L Cannabis with a security officer certification. We can go through, Sapphire Risk. So there are various ways. We just have to figure out what is the best fit for the operation once we get to that point. We'll provide employees, including security guards, within 30 days of employment and at least annually thereafter, at least 8 hours of cannabis business training. There's a commitment for staff as well as security as part of the staff that training is ongoing with the latest. Security alarm systems. We'll hire a contractor that is appropriately licensed by the New Jersey Department of Consumer Affairs. There will be monitoring of unauthorized access to the premises and prevent theft and diversion 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Video surveillance systems, again, through a contractor, making sure that it's appropriately licensed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The system will be continuously monitored either on site or off site at the company's discretion, monitoring for failures, and will be rapidly identified. So there will be no lag in time, and repair to ensure consistent oversight of all operations. Also, we're looking to utilize industry standard internet protocol, IP bullet, and dome cameras that are designed to produce images with the quality required to successfully identify, charge, and prosecute individuals suspected of criminal behavior. Expert installations will ensure that cameras cannot be obstructed readily, tampered with, or disabled, and allow the business to detect diversion, theft, or loss of cannabis. They'll be installed at a height that provides an optimal vantage point to allow a clear image of all individuals and activities. Videos recorded by the system will be retained for at least 30 days. This is part of our standard operating procedures, and stored off-site in a secured, locked, and limited access location per the common company recording record-keeping SOP. And access to the surveillance, monitoring, and recording equipment will be limited to persons who are essential to surveillance operations and civil and law enforcement authorities as appropriate. There's also discussion for software access, controls, and logs to protect the system from unauthorized tampering that will allow for senior management review of all systems access. The video surveilling system will be submitted for New Jersey CRC approval when appropriate. This plan will also, as a follow-up, will include drawings that identify proposed locations for the surveillance cameras. We've discussed this with Tony and his team, so this is definitely on the table. We're also have developed SOPs for access control that pretty much implements appropriate security and safety measures and controls to deter and prevent unauthorized access to the premises and limited access areas containing cannabis. As just a quick example, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but making sure that the cannabis business ID cards are carried by employees and authorized personnel. Although the restroom is available to customers if needed, they will always be, supervised and pretty much accompanied by an employee because the restroom is towards the back of the store. So this is just an example of how we are envisioning, the operation to work. During non-operating hours, premises, entrances, and exit will be securely locked. Locks will be fail secure. Access doors remain secure in the event of interrupted power supply and shielded. Door hinges will be placed inside the facility. We're also paying attention to cannabis item storage. This is important not just for odor mitigation, but also to ensure that, we are keeping track of the product inventory. It's stored indoors. It is locked. It is in limited access area, which is the vault. Taking that very seriously. There's the lighting that we've discussed, the neighborhood contact, diversion prevention plan, as well as emergency management plan that we have developed that is very detailed, screening and monitoring, cybersecurity, and workplace safety plan. So it's a lot. And I am happy to provide this for your review. If you let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like me to provide further detail on.
Thank you, Lily. I just wanted to add one thing really quickly with respect to just the video surveillance to make sure that, it's on the record that not only will the CRC have complete remote access, but local law enforcement in Jersey City will also have 24/7 access to the video surveillance system at all times, just as an added layer of, monitoring cooperation.
Thank you for adding this. I thought about it when I spoke about it, and thank you.
A lot.
Thank you. It's a lot. Yes, I'm trying to be quick and to the point.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that. The only question I still have is the secure door that comes up from the basement. Is there any reason that opens to the inside of the shop rather than down to the basement, opening outward toward the basement? My concern would be if someone broke into the basement through the front of the building, that, I understand the door is secured, the door is alarmed, that they could somehow get into the space or would be tempted to break in and get into the space. Unless there's a building code issue with it, usually, doors would open out of the retail space into that basement area.
I can't really speak to that if there's a specific code. The security team assured that this will not be a problem, that everything will be highly, highly secure, that there should be absolutely no access from the basement. We're just not looking to include it for added security measures, as part of the overall plan. We think that this is the safest way. Nicole, do we know if there's a reason why the door per code needs to open?
Are we talking the front door or the build code door? We're talking the front door?
No, I'm talking about the secure door that leads to the basement from the retail space.
On the first floor, the door that's on the first floor that goes into that hallway. I mean, we're showing it as an existing door swinging out
Yeah.
right now. It doesn't really look like there's an ADA thing down there. It's the non-occupiable space on the lower
Yes.
level. If there's room there, the door can be flipped, or you probably couldn't flip. You more than likely need a new door to swing inward. Like you're saying, it's a lot harder to kick in a door that's swinging towards you than it is swinging away from you. And that's standard operating procedure. This is why the secure door on the vault swings outward, not inward, like you were saying.
Yes. Yeah.
there's also an opportunity, if there's enough room on the lower level to add a door at that level that swings into the stairwell. There isn't one shown now, or a wall there. I'm sure there's something there, but there may be a way with enough room and clearance to add a door on the lower level to stop you there from going up the stairs and swinging out like you're saying.
My concern would be more entering the space than the basement. I don't want to.
No, I'm saying from the basement, you're saying if somebody breached and got into the basement through one of the Bilco doors, let's say, and got up the stairs. I'm saying if we add a door at the bottom of the stairs
Somewhere here.
that swings
Chairman.
out. So you wouldn't be able to go up the stairs.
This
I-
is the basement right here. So what we're saying is creating something, a
You're not
door
shar-
or,
you're not sharing anymore, Nicole.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm
we-
sorry.
That's
I'm
all right.
sorry.
I mean, right now it says that the stairs are open. It's an open wooden stairwell going down. We could try to secure it at the bottom if there's more room down there to be able to accomplish the walls and the doors. If we can't flip the upstairs door.
Or we could create something where when they come down, those Bilco doors from the front and the back, they kind of get locked into another, we can add another door in that area.
Yeah, it just,
And
I mean,
here.
it looks crowded around there. There may be more room
There
around
is.
the door and around those stairs to actually build a wall and add a door there. So they wouldn't be able to get up the stairs if the Bilco doors were breached.
I think the easiest fix is just to flip that door in the retail space coming into the basement.
Okay.
Let us look into that. Absolutely. Nicole, Bill, feeling good
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can look
if
into that. there.
if there's room to flip it and it would be a new door that hinges on the same side but pulls in.
Okay,
If there's room at the landing, I mean, that would be the only concern if we're not swinging out onto a stair. If there's enough room to open the
Mhm.
door and not be down a couple of runs, then that's the
Agreed.
easiest solution.
Francisco, could I leave that up to you and planning staff?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so, we'll ask for that. That's something, we could condition an approval that something was worked out with planning staff regarding that and just, leave it open-ended so you could explore what works best.
okay, we can certainly do that.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions?
No.
All right, council, I think we have enough. If that's okay with you, we'll move to public comment, but we'll reserve the right to come back and ask any questions we need.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate
you
it.
for
And
your
if we could just stop that screen share so we can see everybody's faces. All right, we appreciate it. Thank you. So at this time, let's open it up for public comment. If anybody's here from the public and you'd like to comment, please raise your hand. I see a number already. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Melissa Bengen has joined us.
Hi, Melissa. You can unmute. All right, and it seems like it's not Melissa speaking, correct?
My name is Joseph Ippolito.
All right, hi, Joe. Let me just swear you in. If you could raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
All right, thanks. And if you could just state and spell your name and give us your home address, please.
502 Pavonia Avenue, Joseph Ippolito, Ippolito.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Go ahead, sir. We
Yeah.
have 3 minutes for you.
I'm president of the association, 496 Pavonia Avenue, right next door, right in back of the building that we're talking about. And I would just hope to see them improving on the back, in the rear of the building. There's a dead tree there. There's vines growing all over the tree. The gutters are all coming down. And I would take, say, they should clean up the yard before any consideration on you giving them, it has to come with some kind of thing, because the whole neighborhood is all bad in the back. And I would appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Chris, is this the same project, Pavonia Street behind West Side Avenue? We're talking a different,
Ms. Holland, is that,
That is not, I was about to say, I don't think it is the
I don't think
location,
Pavonia crosses West Side at all.
no, not that I know about, not that I'm aware of.
but I also want to ensure the gentleman that the backyard has been cleaned proactively as soon as I acquired the building. So I don't think it's the same location, but I commiserate because yes, I'm all about for cleaning our city.
Yeah, I think he's probably talking about item 15. That's not in front of us tonight. That's going to be carried to the May 23rd meeting. I hope that's what he was commenting on. All right, if we could, Cam, let's continue on with public comment, please.
Val has joined us.
Hi, Val, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Doing all right,
Good
thank you.
evening.
And I'll swear you in. Do you swear any testimony you get tonight is gonna be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Record, can you state and spell your name and give us your address, please?
Of course, it's Valery Verkhovsky, that's Valery. Last name Verkhovsky, that's Verkhovsky, pertaining to my property of 145 Lexington Avenue.
Thank you.
Val, always a pleasure. We have 3 minutes for you.
Chairman, good evening. My pleasure all mine. I haven't seen you guys in a while. Been out
been
on
a
a little
while.
vacation. So yes. Definitely great to be here. I have to say, I'm currently physically about 5 houses down from this property, under 300 feet away. I have a few concerns of the location of this proposal. I have to say it is located directly across the street from the West Bergen Library. And around the corner is PS 33, where children would usually go to the library and would be passing this location. When you mentioned about a potential gas leak, I started wondering, why is it that we haven't heard from the security team that we heard so much detail about? That concerned me, given the severity and the complexity of this application. I would love to ask questions to the security. I was uncomfortable the fact that the answer as to on-site or off-site, it kept being an or. There's no definitive information about that. That was a concern. I mean, my mother lives here, my 75-year-old mother. A gas leak is a concern, given that I'm in the close proximity. There has to be some accountability. As an example, they're on such a monitored site, so there can't be one person monitoring as an example. I know the concern you brought up earlier, and I completely, as I think about it, and I agree that is a concern. If, let's say, a potential gas or something of that sense, there has to be more, I guess, transparency in terms of security. That's a concern. I also have a concern the fact that there's a gun shop across the street as well, but that's a separate conversation, But it's a very busy street. My biggest concern, as I mentioned before, is the school being around the corner, right off West Side and Clendenny, PS 33, and the West Bergen Library directly across the street from this application. So that is a concern of mine.
All right, thanks, Val. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Promoted William Pina.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I cannot see you. Are you able to turn your video on?
Hold on. Sorry.
No worries. All right, I see you and I hear you. Are you driving a car or are you stopped?
Oh no, I'm stopped. I'm parked. I'm
All
in my
right.
drive.
Great. I just want to swear you in before you speak. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give us your home address, please?
My name is William Pena, William. Last name is spelled Pena, and I live on 62 Ferncliff Road, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Mr. Pena, good evening. We have 3 minutes for you, sir.
Hi, yes. I'm just basically calling in. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm calling in because I'm the owner of Jersey Leaf, which we're located on 554 West Side Avenue. And my biggest concern is that she is within the 600 feet buffer zone. And we're already fully approved and have our resolution from the city. Our application with the state is in the conversion process. We've done our fingerprints, done our interview. It's pretty much on the last phase of review to get finally approved. Our permits are submitted for construction, and I pretty much invested my life savings into this, getting into this industry, and I just don't want anything to hinder my business, being that I'm already all invested in, been paying rent since November 2022. And I just wanted to put it on the record and leave it up to you guys. You guys are the professionals, and I hope you guys do the right thing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pena. And how far along, how long does that state process take? Because we've been working on these for so long, it's ridiculous that we don't have anything open yet.
Well, we should be on the next hearing, which is probably in June. And that's pretty much right around the corner, there's no hearing in May. And we already submitted our conversion in February. So they say it takes 100 days for the swing around for the final approval. So that's why I say we should be hitting the next phase, the final approval.
All right, thank you, sir. And Francisco, if you could, do you want to speak to the proximity as far as a micro business goes?
Yeah, so I do have a map on my staff memo, but to speak to the distances between, I assume his is a class 5 standard business, but in the NC neighborhood commercial zone, there shall not be more than 2 cannabis establishments. This application is a micro business, so it is allowed in the zone as long as there's 2 per block.
So Fernando, so you're saying, because I thought I saw somewhere, I'm trying to look for it now. I remember reading something that said that there wasn't nothing close to the 200-foot mark, no schools, and nothing at the 600 mark.
Yeah,
And
so
is that in the application? So I thought I read that. I'm trying to find it.
yeah, so for standard businesses, each dispensary needs to be 600 feet away from each other. And then for neighborhood commercial zones, they are a little bit more different. So they allow flexibility for micro businesses to be closer in proximity than regular standard businesses would have been.
How close is the school?
So that's not school. I have not spoken about the school, but the school, every application, regardless of micro or standard, needs to be 200 feet away. And this application is 200 feet away outside of that buffer zone.
Okay, so there is something written down in one of these documents stating that this thing is closer. There's nothing 600 feet to it. As of now.
So I can share my screen just so that way it's all, let me see.
Sure, that works.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. Let me know when everyone could see it.
We got it.
All right, so for separation distances, the school needs to be, or the location of the dispensary needs to be 200 feet away from a school. So I'll just scroll down to my map. So for those who are visual learners, you'll be able to see it. So highlighted in green is the application we're discussing tonight. And you can see that the front door of it is far away from that 200-foot buffer that the school zone is in. And then this is a concurrent application, but the application we're discussing tonight is a micro business, and they are within the neighborhood commercial zone, which allows for 2 per block.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is if everything goes well for these both applicants and one of these applicants, everything goes well, the paperwork goes through, they're not gonna lose their shirt over their life savings because of something that they were told was okay to keep moving.
That's correct.
No, wait a second. Now, Mr. Torres, that's jumping to some
Oh,
conclusions.
That's jumping to
right
conclusion,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What we're saying is that they're allowed
Yes.
and they're meeting the letter of the law
Okay,
and they are permitted to go here and they're meeting the conditions that are regulated by the zoning.
right.
Whether or
that's what
not a person, a business survives or not, is
That's
not
not-
dictated by the zoning.
Okay, so the fact that it's here stating that the distance at least 600 feet. All right, thank you very much. I'm clear. I appreciate Matt clearing that up. I didn't mean to say it that way. What I was just trying to
Yeah.
say is that as they move forward, hypothetically, yes. I just
All
wanted to
right,
be clear.
thanks, Ed.
Thank you,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, if we could, let's continue on with public comment, please.
Elvira has joined us.
Hi, Elvira. You need to unmute and then I could swear you in.
Okay, hi.
How you doing? I just want to swear you in if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And if you could just have your husband or daughter mute the other device in there and then just state and spell your name and give us your home address, please.
Elvira Hassan, Hassan, 504 Pavonia Avenue, Jersey City.
Thank you.
My question doesn't have to do with the west side because I'm just looking at the legal notice about the 535 Newark Avenue. Was that changed from today? Or did that happen and I missed it?
You didn't miss it. No, that,
535 is next on the agenda.
yeah, that's next up on our agenda, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so we should stay on then.
Yes, yeah, it'll be up
Okay.
in a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Promoting George Margettis.
Hi, George.
Hey, how you doing, sir? How's
Doing all
everything?
right. I'll just swear you in. If you could raise your right hand, do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give us your home address, please?
George Margettis, GeorgeMargetis, 46 Cherry Street, Society Hill, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Mr. Margettis, good evening. We have 3 minutes for you, sir.
Thank you, thank you. I'm Williams' partner on Jersey Leaf. I just wanted to clarify that we are a micro dispensary. We're not a standard. So the 600 feet rule, would be right on top of us, 2 micro businesses.
Francisco, can you speak to that?
Yeah,
Did
so
you clarify that, Francisco?
yeah, so it's 2 per block, just to clarify.
Micros,
Yes, no, it's micro or standard.
we're micro, so is she.
Okay. And you are not within the same block, correct?
She's within 600 feet of us.
But you're not on the same block, correct?
No, but it used to be 600 feet rule. I thought that was the rule we were going by.
I don't know how many times I should read it.
When we got approved last year, it's been a year already, the rule was 600 feet. We went to planning May of last year. We went to CCB in June and got our resolution later that summer. The
Okay.
rule was 600 feet.
I'm gonna read it one more time. So it says, For lots wholly or partially within a neighborhood commercial zone, which Westside is in a neighborhood commercial zone, there shall not be more than 2 cannabis establishments on the same block.
I'm 554 West Side. She's 547.
You're
Across
the
the,
next block though, sir.
it's across the street.
You're not on the same city block.
Very clear.
That must have changed recently because it used to be 600 feet.
It's been like this.
And what happened to about putting a pin in the map with when you pull permits? Is that still a thing? Because everything changes, I feel like, week to week.
That's what we go by. We go by the time of application rule as far as when an applicant applies versus when building permits are pulled. But Francisco, so just to be clear, in a neighborhood commercial zone, if the applicants are on separate blocks, there's no 600-foot rule in place.
That's correct. That's how I read the ordinance.
That's how you read the ordinance, or that's how the ordinance is?
That's how the
Because
ordinance is, and that's how I'm
because
reading.
the last time I heard about it, if you're on if one person's on one block and on the next corner, if I'm on one corner, he's on the other corner, it's still the 600 feet. That's what at first that we were told.
I'm just
You have to be on the same block itself.
It says,
Yeah, that's listed in the ordinance, David. Corner lots are on 2 blocks.
yes, a block includes all lots fronting on both sides of a right of way between intersections. Corner lots are on 2 blocks.
Okay.
And these are both mid-blocks, separate blocks.
Well, I could see her store from, like, literally, I walk out the door, I can see her, she could probably see us.
Yeah, it's the law we go by says they're on separate blocks, sir.
Okay, thank you for the class.
I believe me, I understand your concern, but that's, we have to go by what's in the ordinance.
Okay,
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
thank you, guys.
The remaining members of the public have already spoken.
Let's bring Mr. Pena. I'm sorry, we're only allowed to have you comment on an application once.
Phone number just went up.
Cam, can we bring Mr. Ippolito up again and just clear up that comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, but I was in the wrong hearing. I'm winning the next one. I'm sorry about that.
Understood, sir. So you're here for Newark Avenue?
Yeah, 535.
Okay, that's up next.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, Cam, let's continue on then with public comment, please.
Promoted Bhavana Parekh.
Hello.
Hi, I can see and hear you. I just want to swear you in before you speak. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will say the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. And if you could just state and spell your name and give us your address, please.
Yes, I'm Bhavna Parekh and I live on 333 3rd Street,
Thanks.
Jersey City. So this is regarding, I don't know, I was listening throughout the last 30-40 minutes. So this is around 270 Newark Avenue. What item is it on the agenda?
We are on 547 West Side Avenue right now, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Which one are you here for?
270 Newark Avenue?
Okay, that's I can't even put a time on it, but it's a couple items down our agenda.
Okay, so I'll just wait. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. All right, if there's anybody else from public that you'd like to comment on this application, please raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Mr. Chair, I see no public. I move to close the public.
Second,
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Francisco, do you have anything you want to go over?
I think it's probably best that I just briefly show everyone my screen, and for the public, so that way they're familiar with the city ordinance. So this is coming from our cannabis FAQ standards. If you scroll down, the ordinance is embedded in here. So chapter 345 zoning, I'll just scroll down specifically to the microbusiness section. And that would be microbusinesses subject to a class 5 shall be permitted conditional use. And then I'll just scroll down to this section right here. So you can see separation distances and location maximums. It says it in section or subsection C, for lots wholly or partially within a neighborhood commercial zone, there shall not be more than 2 cannabis dispensaries on the same block. A block includes all lots fronting on both sides of a right-of-way between intersections, corner lots are on 2 blocks. So for those in the public who do want to read the ordinance and be a little bit more familiar with it, it is on the city website. I think that is all I have to say on behalf of this project. Staff is in receipt of all the documents that were required. They were posted on the data portal. And with that said, staff recommends approval with conditions outlined in my staff.
Okay, thank you, Francisco. So council, the conditions we're talking about tonight are the ones in Francisco's staff report. Also that the signage and any illumination is only operable during business hours, and that the applicant would work with planning staff on the secure door going into the basement that we discussed tonight.
Yes, I can definitely confirm, because Lily's on right now too, and she could speak, but we're gonna be complying with, I believe there's 6 recommendations that the staff had recommended. We'll make sure that the door is rectified to your liking, as well as any lighting to make sure that it's complying with the regulations, as well as anything else that was addressed.
Okay, thank you. So I'll entertain a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P22-2228
Second it.
as presented to the board tonight, the staff conditions or any other conditions they have.
Second it now.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval.
Vice Chair, Dr. Gonzalez,
Yes, I'll be abstaining.
Commissioner Dr. Desai,
Abstaining.
Commissioner Torres,
I would just hope the next time with an application like this, we have a security expert talking to us, that there was still kind of a little confusion in my part as the way it was presented, and I did have no confusion. But with that, I vote aye for this.
Commissioner Cruz,
I vote no.
and Chairman Langston.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I do understand the public's concerns and also the business owner across the street. However, the applicant does meet all the standards that we require as a planning board, and I'm going to vote aye.
Okay, motion carries. 2 in favor, 1 no, and 2 abstained.
All right, thank you, everybody. Mike, do you want to get a break in now? It's 6:52. I can't believe it's 6:52 already.
Yeah, sure, thanks.
Okay, let's take 10, everybody. We'll be back at 7:02.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Hello, Rosemary. Hi.
Yeah.
Who
Hi,
else?
Carol, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Yes, we have Matthew Casoglu,
Okay, got him.
our architect Daniel Roma, and design project manager Marco Santos.
Okay, your whole team's up here.
Great.
Hey, Rosemary, Alex's computer started lagging, so we're just gonna share the computer, okay?
Yep, I got that. I'll explain when we get back from break.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
All right, let's come to order, please, again, everybody. All right, let's call item 10 on the agenda is case P 22-231 is a conditional use for 535 Newark Avenue.
Good evening. Rosemary Moyano Matos of the Law Office of Rosemary Moyano Matos LLC, appearing on behalf of the applicant Neon Heights LLC.
Good evening, council.
Good evening. So we have with us this evening to provide testimony on this application, the owners of the applicant, Alexandria Alcala and Matthew Quesoglu, as well as the architect that prepared the renderings, Daniel A. Roma. And to assist Mr. Roma is Marco Santos, who is the project manager who provided the design consulting from at Drafter Max LLC.
Okay, council, just give us 1 second and we'll qualify your notice.
I'm just waiting for it to load up here, Chairman. I'm sorry. Chairman, I haven't received the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to 535 Newark Avenue here in the city. Had the opportunity to review it. It does state that the meeting is for this evening at 5:30 via the Zoom, obviously. All does appear to be in order, so we can go ahead and mark that as A1 for the record.
Great.
All right, thank you, council. Go ahead, Ms. Matos.
Wonderful. So as a brief overview with respect to this project, I'd like to note the following for the record. Applicant is an MWBE certified business that is seeking a conditional use approval to operate a Class 5 standard cannabis retailer under Jersey City's cannabis ordinance number 21-053. On December 12th, 2022, the applicant received unanimous approval from the Jersey City Cannabis Control Board for a resolution of support to operate as such. The property is located at 535 Newark Avenue in the Jersey City Heights area within the neighborhood commercial zoning district. The applicant has leased the first floor commercial retail space consisting of approximately 2,000 square feet. The proposed cannabis retail use is permitted under the cannabis ordinance as a conditional use within the neighborhood commercial district. The applicant is not seeking any variances in connection with this use. The current ground floor retail space is currently vacant and underutilized. The applicant is proposing to renovate the first floor interior and update the exterior facade to accommodate its cannabis retail operations. With respect to separation distances, the premises are not located within 200 feet of any school, and the premises are also not located within 600 feet of another approved cannabis establishment, as confirmed in the staff memo prepared by City Planner Francisco Espinoza. To the best of our knowledge, the premises are not located within 600 feet of any other applicant that has currently appeared or been approved by the Cannabis Board to date. Lastly, we are not seeking any variances with respect to this application, and none have been noted in the planning staff's memo. Our witnesses this evening, as I stated earlier, are Daniel Roma, who is the architect of record. I just want to give a brief explanation. Mr. Roma is currently in Bayonne. He is scheduled to appear before their planning board, and so he may have to jump off. So we'd like to call him as a witness first. But also available to support his testimony is Marco Santos of Drafter Max, who provided design consulting services to the architect for this project. Both of these witnesses can testify to the interior design as well as the exterior facade of the premises. Also testifying this evening, we have the owners of Neon Heights LLC, Alexandria Alcala and Matthew Quesoglu, who will speak about their business operations, including hours of and methods of operation, their community impact plans, social responsibility and workforce development plans, noise and odor mitigation, security measures, and their proposed project. Mr. Roma. Can you hear me?
Would you like to have him sworn in?
Yes, please.
I'll swear in. Daniel, do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
My name is Daniel Angel Roma. I'm the licensed architect for this project. My office is located at 877 Broad Street, Newark, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Mr. Roma, good evening, and you're a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey, I think I heard you say?
Yes, it is in effect and is in a full.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified, sir, and unfortunately, you're in Bayonne. I'm really sad to hear that, but yeah, I'm fine if Mr. Santos worked under your direction. We could take his testimony and you can continue on with your night if that's your intention.
And
I'm not sure where you are at with your other meeting, but if you want to begin going over the renderings and if you have to leave, Marcos can take over, or if you want Marcos to do the presentation, it's up to you.
Marcos, are you okay with we doing you the presentation, or I can?
Yes, I'm fine. I can take it from here if that's okay with the board.
Sure, it's obviously your presentation, whatever works for the applicant.
Great.
All right, great. So Marcos, I'll swear you in. If you can raise your
Sure.
hand. You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
My name is Marcos Santos.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Santos, good evening. Are you a licensed architect in the state?
I am not a licensed architect.
Okay, but you worked under the direction of Mr.
Yes,
Raymond.
I work under the direction of Daniel on multiple projects.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified then as a fact witness who worked under the direction of a licensed architect.
Thank you. Marco, can you bring up the renderings and begin the presentation?
Sure. I'd like to share my screen. Let me see if I can find a way to do this here. Am I allowed to share screen right now?
Yes, you can.
One second.
It's the green button in the bottom. Okay.
Mr. Santos, for purposes of the record, is everything that's being shown what was submitted before the hearing this evening?
Yes, it was.
Okay, then we do not have to mark it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So this is an existing multi-use building. It's currently a commercial space on the first floor. There's an apartment on the second floor, and there's another apartment on the third floor. The retail space on the ground floor is not currently being used. The applicant is proposing to renovate for a tenant retrofit of the space in order to install a cannabis retail store. There is no change of use. The use would stay the same. There's no change in egress. So basically, we're keeping the building in the same way it is now, a mixed-use building. We are proposing, bear with me one second, to see if I can eliminate this here. Okay. I think maybe this floor plan, even though it's not dimensioned, it's a little bit clearer to read. So we are proposing a reception area with a security desk and a security enclosed area. When the person comes in here, they have to be cleared by security in order to be allowed back into the retail portion of the store. We are installing an ADA bathroom. The current bathroom is not ADA. We're also installing an area here for employees, and there will be a closet here that will be locked, and that's where we will dispose of any garbage that's produced in the space. This will be the main retail area here. There will be some skylights and some shelving throughout. And this is where the point of sale registers will be. As you can see, it's connected to the transfer room, which is then connected to the vault where all the product is being kept. All these doors are magnetically locked and secured. As you can see, we've hired a security consultant, as you can see on the security plan, that has designed for us what the security of the space will be based on the guidelines and the requirements of a cannabis retail space. We're gonna have a total of 22 interior cameras and 6 cameras on the outside. All doors will be electronically locked. We will be doing a renovation to the facade of the building, a minor renovation, the existing facade. Just gonna pull this up here. This is the existing facade here. We are proposing to
Mr. Santos, just give us 1 second. We would, obviously, this is a Google Maps.
Sure, I have
in front of the building. We would have to enter this into evidence.
Sure.
So if, whatever you're showing us-
Update 2, Chairman.
Okay, so whatever you're showing us on Google Maps, maybe take a screenshot of it. And,
Oh, I actually have images of that. Let me give you a cleaner image of that there.
Mr. Santos, that's not the issue. The image is fine. The issue is this was prepared in preparation for the hearing tonight and was not previously submitted. So we just have to mark it.
I
And then
understand.
it has to be submitted after the hearing for purposes of the record.
Sure.
If I can, I'm sorry, if I can just interrupt, we actually did submit with the documents, a photograph of the front. The current.
This
existing.
photograph though, counsel?
Yeah. Not that one in particular,
It might not have been
That's
this one. Yeah, I prepared this for this meeting. I just wanted to show the locations next to the retail space. I don't think it was this exact same picture, so you might
We're
want to.
just gonna mark it for purposes of the record,
Sure.
simple.
Sure.
Okay,
And if we could just get a copy of, obviously, the image over to city planning to be part of the record.
sure.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, Mr. Santos.
And so this is the existing the existing building. As you can see, there's a masonry finish, which we're going to stucco over with a smooth finish. It's going to be light gray. We do have a rendering. I'm going to flip to that in a little bit. We're changing these awnings here and installing a new sign, doing some work on the storefront. I'll just show you that here. And you do have this. This was submitted with the record. So here's a rendering of what we are proposing to do. These are the new awnings. This would be the color for the commercial space. We had submitted the entire building as black, but we received some feedback back from the planning from Francisco that it didn't go in line with the neighborhood. So we tweaked it a little bit to make it look more like the other buildings in the area. We are proposing a new sign which meets the guidelines for the size. The maximum size is either 20 square feet or 5% of the storefront. We are below that. We're also proposing another smaller sign here, which meets the guidelines. The allowed is 8 square feet. We're proposing 7 square feet, so we are also meeting that. We're installing a new gate here to the side of the building. New doors. We are glazing, we're adding this film to the storefront, which won't allow for anyone to be able to look inside. In addition to that, we are upgrading the mechanical system on the inside, and I think this is important. And we're adding carbon filters to the mechanical system so that no odor can escape from this space. I'm sorry, I just wanted to show you that we have that information here. And so we are calling for charcoal filters, calling for responsible disposal of waste, security measures. I was looking at the previous presentation of another cannabis store, and there was a question of how would you access the basement in case of a utility company or an emergency or something like that. We currently have two access. We have this access here, which is the Bilko door at the sidewalk. And we also have another entrance into the office who would then allow that person to go downstairs into the basement. The reason why this door is swinging out is because the steps start here. So code requires that we swing the door out in order to create a sort of landing here, since we do not have one here. This door will be magnetically locked and will be secure so that no one can get into the building or into this floor through here. Just trying to see what else I can. I think basically that's the work that we are doing. I just wanted to present you with this and answer any questions that you may have regarding the project.
Okay, thank you, sir. And council, this came up on the last application. It comes up in front of every retail application I see. That the signage would only be illuminated during business hours.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. Again, just like the last application, the only access to that basement, I'm assuming there's, utilities in the basement, gas, water and the such, that the only access is through the space. So someone would have to be present to allow anybody down there in the case of an emergency.
There is a Bilko door on the sidewalk here, but yes, someone would need to access, would need to give some, personal access in case of an emergency or something like that.
Okay, and how would that happen in case there was, a gas leak, a massive plumbing leak in the basement?
If I may, the applicants are Jersey City residents and they will be the 24-hour contact. And they'll speak to that during their presentation.
Okay, I appreciate that. Those are my only questions. Anybody else for Mr. Santos?
Nope.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you're muted, sir. Mr. Torres.
I do have a quick question. I just hope that it's a quick no. Not too much detail, but on your drawings and your rendering of these drawings, you're showing neon windows and one spot set of film for neon windows on the upper floors. I'm hoping that we're not planning to do that and have the windows on the upper floors are the green color. I am looking at your drawing of the front facade of the building. Let me see which drawing it is.
I'm sorry, sir. We're only doing the film on the bottom floors. If you look closely at the rendering, the bottom
Yes.
ones are green and the
Okay,
top ones are.
well, on this drawing right now, it says on the upper, not on the upper floors, yes.
That
Reflective neon color film type on the window, on the upper floors.
I don't see
Yep.
that here.
No, I'm sorry, Marcos. That was an original draft that was submitted to the board and then it was amended by the plans that Marcos testified to.
So that's the other plans that we have in our package that says the upgraded plan.
That's
Correct.
correct. Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you, Eddie. All right, anybody else for Mr. Santos?
Nope.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so our next witness is Alexandria Alcala, who is the majority owner of the applicant Neon Heights. Alexandria, can you please provide your name, address, and exact relationship to the applicant for the record?
Sure. My name's Alexandria Alcala. Last name is Alcala. I live at 350 Warren Street, apartment 716 in Jersey City, New Jersey.
And I'll just swear you in real quick if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Great. Can you please advise the board about the community impact, workforce development, and other plans that you wanted to address? this evening?
Sure. Again, I want to keep this brief because, for the purpose of this meeting, this is about planning and, all of our community impact was pretty much left on the table at the cannabis board. So I'll just make it really brief. Sorry.
Can you also give your background? I'm sorry, beforehand.
Sure. So, all right. So I've lived in Jersey City since August 2020, 3 months prior to legalization. And prior to working at the most compliant medical dispensary in New York, I worked in commercial real estate in Manhattan, which has proved extremely helpful in scouting compliant property. I received my New Jersey cannabis certification from Raritan College in March of 2020 and began working at FP Wellness, a medical dispensary in Manhattan that was acquired by multi-state operator Green Thumb Industries under Rise Dispensary during my tenure. There I was able to learn the nuts and bolts of operating a medical dispensary, including workforce development, education, human resources, tech stack, security, marketing, compliance, supply chain, inventory, and our seed to sales system, which is Metric in New Jersey. My time there really helped me understand how to implement systems and operations according to the market and businesses' needs. I also belong to the Minority Cannabis Business Association and Minorities for Medical Marijuana, where I have a sounding board with other marginalized groups in the operational saddle. As far as my involvement in Jersey City, I sit on the professional council at York Street Project, where I help organize events like the Gala of Hope, Night Under the Stars, Hudson Gives, and the annual golf tournament that I hope to see everyone at. I also organize an annual holiday fundraiser for PS 27 with Principal Jackson and Lelaine Greco, where I've raised $6,000 in 2021 and 2022 in gifts for students. Another cool thing that's part of our community impact plan is we intend on offering clients that can produce a receipt from a local small business, a discount to incentivize patrons to shop small in Ward C. As far as community events, we have an MOU with Canademics to participate in future events at Hudson County Community College. And we've previously participated in two, which were a career fair that we sponsored and exhibited at, and also the culture of cannabis in Jersey City. And both of those were at Hudson County Community College. I don't have many MOUs because I'm already doing the work. So that's, something I'm really proud of. And yeah, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And that concludes my statement.
All right, thank you. We appreciate it. Council, do you have anybody that's going to speak to the security plan? Or
We do.
Okay.
The next witness, Matthew Kesuglu.
Okay, so I have no questions for your witness. Anybody else?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Doing the old switcheroo here.
That was an easy transfer. We
Yeah,
appreciate
right?
that.
It's kind of
And,
patting on the leg, ready to go. So, hello everyone. How are
How you doing? I just want to swear you in before you speak, all right? If you raise your right hand.
Absolutely.
Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
Yes, it's Matthew Kesuglu, spelled Matthew, last name Keisoglu.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. And you're going to be testifying on security?
Yes, along with some other operational information.
Okay, do you have, if you could, just go over your background in the security industry, if you could.
Well, I don't have any background in the security industry. I'm actually currently in the industry myself. I'm a supervisor at a retail location, which I'll describe. But I'm just speaking on behalf of, our Sapphire Risk.
Okay.
Security advisors, yes.
Okay, go ahead then, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. I really appreciate your time today and patience. My name is Matthew Casaglu. I was born and raised in New Jersey and currently reside at 350 Warren Street, apartment 716 in Jersey City. I am co-owner of Neon Heights and will be further providing my expertise in the industry alongside my partner, Alexandra. I currently am a supervisor at a licensed cannabis retail dispensary in New Jersey, where I'm responsible for majority of the day-to-day operations. I supervise patient care associates, manage and fulfill inventory, manage cash, which includes weekly counts and pickups. I was hired at this dispensary at this inception during the build-out phase through opening of medical use and most recently transitioning to adult use. This position has equipped me with the tools necessary to compliantly open and operate Neon Heights and ensure its success. I'm also one of the first 100 patients in medical marijuana in New Jersey. So I've been on the game for quite a while now. So, but I will now explain some of our key terms of the operation. Regarding the operations of business, our hours are going to be Wednesday to Monday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday, we are closed. Employees, we're going to have 17 employees total. And during operation, 1 security receptionist, 3 employees in the retail area, 2 employees in the cashier area, 2 employees in the transfer room or fulfillment area. And we will shift staff shifts according to the ebb and flow of the business. Regarding the ventilation and odor, it will be pursuant to Ordinance 21-053, Section 3D. We will take active measures to eliminate any cannabis odor that may potentially emanate from the premises to mitigate disturbances to local businesses and residents. There are several industry best practices that we will install at our facility to ensure that the area poses 0 health risks to any employee or visitor or the surrounding businesses in compliance with both state and local codes. At present, we are obtaining quotes from heating and cooling experts for a ventilation system with an air purification system and carbon filters in the type and capacity to eliminate cannabis odors emanating from the interior of the premises. Our plan is to have our architect work closely with an HVAC specialist to be certain with our systems are not only appropriate for the premises and our proposed cannabis operations, but will be above the standards and requirements of Jersey City and the state of New Jersey. Neon Heights may contract with an engineer if needed. Once we have selected the proper system, we will update this portion to include the specific system and the plan to obtain approval from the Jersey City Department of Health and Human Services. Minimally, our HVAC system will be properly inspected and maintained in accordance with applicable codes. Our unit will receive regular maintenance to replace fuses or mechanical parts to ensure it will run efficiently. We will be sure to clean and replace those filters regularly, which will improve air conditioning efficiency, quality, and effectiveness. We will also check to be sure the HVAC unit is free of all obstructions, such as nests or dust, in order to ensure proper airflow. We will also replace and update the thermostat when needed in order to be more efficient and energy conscious as a company that strives to promote sustainability and a foster greener world. Regarding noise, we don't anticipate the noise level to emanate outside, but with respect to outside units, like including HVAC and backup generator, we will muffle and enclose the equipment accordingly to make it as quiet as possible. And for our security, pursuant to Ordinance 21-053, Section 3E, our establishment shall be secured in accordance with the state of New Jersey statutes and regulations, and shall have a round-the-clock video surveillance system as illustrated in our plans, 365 days a year. Security receptionists will be posted at the retail dispensary 1 hour before opening throughout the business day and until 1 hour after closing. This to ensure the premises of the staff are protected when inventory or money is being handled. Premise security, probably sounds like a broken record at this point, but we've retained the professional security consulting firm, Sapphire Risk Advisory Group, which I'm sure you're well aware of at this point. Sapphire has created a security plan and physical overlay of the floor plan. They will contract local security providers to enact an electronic security, including alarm systems, video surveillance, limited access controls, remote monitoring, and emergency response. The premises exterior will be well lit with energy efficient LED dusk to dawn photocell lights as illustrated in the plans that are compliant with zoning ordinances. The exterior lights will be sufficient to deter criminal activity and facilitate clear video surveillance that will be directionally focused to not disturb surrounding businesses or neighbors in accordance with the NJAC 1730-910. Exterior security lighting will eliminate all entrances and exits adequately to support clear video surveillance in accordance with NJAC 1730-910. And yes, all lights will be only active during operational hours and will be turned off at closing. For security and alarm and video surveillance systems, we will have security and surveillance systems that have been approved by the commission pursuant to NJAC 1730-910, professionally installed at the retail dispensary. Video surveillance systems will clearly monitor all critical control activities of the retail dispensary, and it will be maintained in working order to operate at all times in accordance with NJAC 1730-910. Technology manager will conduct maintenance inspections and the test security alarm system at least once every 30 days and will immediately notify the professional installation company to implement all necessary repairs to ensure proper operation of the alarm system in accordance to the same code. I should keep repeating it, but if you like me to, I will. The security alarm system and video surveillance system will continuously be monitored by an offsite professional security company, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in accordance with NJAC 1730-910. Neon Heights will provide access for remote viewing by the commission in accordance to the same code. The original tapes or digital pictures produced by the system shall be stored in a safe place with a 30-day archive in accordance with the same code. Lastly, our crowd control. We feel the space allotted is sufficient, but should we come across the times of high volume, we will be implementing a notification system to alert customers that are not able to fit in the waiting room after checking in, that they are able to enter the retail area either via text or email. This is also great, by the way, for the surrounding businesses like Larry and Joe's Pizza right next door to us, Philippine Bread House across the street, local surrounding convenience and shopping stores to receive more business from the customers, waiting to be called in. So we found nothing but benefits from it. To conclude, I would also like to address any complaints, by the way, regarding the trees and or debris in our location's backyard. We apologize for any inconvenience that is caused, but we have not taken possession of the property just yet. But we assure all that are concerned that once we do, we'll make it a priority to address it. And once again, apologize for the inconvenience. But this concludes my testimony, and we're happy to address any questions of the board. So we thank you very much again.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. My only question was, what you just referred to on the upkeep of the backyard. So I appreciate that. I have nothing. Anybody else?
I have a quick question for him on the security with the as people come in, you only have one entrance coming in. The flow of people getting there, purchasing, and then leaving the facility. It will be let's say if there's interactions with everybody inside the middle of the floor, is there some type of security that will make sure that the flow goes smoothly in and out of the facility? Because we've seen on other applications where they had some type of plan where it was shown how people came in the facility and left the facility. Now that I don't see that in any of your
Marcos, do you want to touch on the flow or do you want me to do it?
Well, I'm more concerned about, I know it's a small spot, but will there be some type of security on the floor to make sure that everything runs smoothly, flow-wise, leaving, not just left to the people that are working there?
The experienced care specialist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there will be experienced care specialists on the floor, as I mentioned earlier, with how many employees will be active during operational hours. And they will be not only assisting customers of where to go on the floor, but of course, help guiding traffic.
Okay.
There is no code requirement for 2 exits on this project. Although we do have 2 exits, one is not to be used, but it's there. The flow of the space will be managed by the employees.
By the employees or by some type of security? Because I don't want the employees to have a confrontation
No,
On the floor, if you
I
have
meant,
a security system set up, you know?
yeah, I meant the security employees, the person in charge of security. Yes.
Right, thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Desai.
I have a question. How far is the school from your place? Because I walk on that street and during like morning hours, lunch hours, there are so many students from the Dickinson High School going on. So what are you going to do to avoid those kids coming to your facility?
Sure. Would you like to take over?
Doctor, we complied with the ordinance and it said that we had to be at least 200 feet away. We are very close, but we are outside of that buffer.
And if the students come and, they try to enter your facility, what security you are going to have?
If I may, the way that the space is designed is that the moment you come into the space, you come in contact with security or with the reception area. And so you're asked for your ID. You cannot proceed to the back of the space without showing proper ID.
So you could only enter the reception area is what he's saying without authorization from the security receptionist to buzz you in after verification of age with an ID check.
But they are going to enter your facility, right?
Doctor, I'm having a little
Anybody comes
trouble
in?
hearing you.
If anybody comes in, they can enter your facility. Or
Well, technically just the reception area. Yeah, but they will be met by security.
there are 2,000 students going on that street during lunch hour and break hours and everything, and too many people. So that's the only concern I have.
Okay.
If I may address that concern a bit, the HVAC system will also be designed in a way so that the reception area doesn't get much of that smell coming through. And so it's separated by zones, and we are going to make sure that that reception area doesn't get that much of a smell. Again, students would only be able to come into that reception area and immediately they'd be, escorted out because they're technically they can't buy the product without being of age, similar to alcohol or cigarettes, for example.
All right, thank you, sir. Anybody else? Any questions? All right, thank you. We appreciate the testimony.
We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, go ahead. Anything else?
That is all. That concludes our testimony on the application.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, let's open it up for public comment. If anybody's here from the public that wants to comment, please raise your hand. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Promoted Melissa Bangan.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Joseph Ippolito again from.
Mr. Ippolito, good evening. If you could just confirm for the record that you have been sworn in already and you understand that you're still under oath.
I've been sworn in already about an hour ago. And I just wanted to make an objection to a few things at this meeting. And
Sure, go ahead,
take it
sir.
into consideration.
And we have 3 minutes for you, sir.
Yes, and I manage 496 Pavonia Avenue, which is right in back of the property that they're looking for. And there's dead trees on there. All the gutters are coming off the building, and there's vines growing all over the place. That hasn't been talked about any way at all. I want to know if it's going to be brought up to code when you do the next renovation. To remove the dead trees and the dead vines and the total mess in the backyard and the gutters.
Okay, any other questions, Mr. Ippolito? And we'll get that answered for you.
No, I object to it that it's so close to the school, living here for 60 years. And I think that if everybody would walk on Newark Avenue, there's all kids in front of the stores on Newark Avenue, especially in the pizza parlor right next door. And there's all kids walking back and forth. And in my opinion, I don't think it's a good location to put something like this.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. And council, if I know we touched on it, can we address the overgrowth in the backyard and the gutters? Will they be taken care of?
Sure. So the testimony of Mr. Kesoglu was that they do not currently have possession of the premises, but that when they begin construction, yes, that will be addressed as part of their construction plan.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, anybody else from public? If you'd like to comment on this application, please raise your hands. And if you're calling in, press *9 to raise your hands.
See
There-
nobody, I move to close the public.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Public is closed. Francisco, do you want to wrap us up here?
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Just that staff is in receipt of all documents that are required. They have all been posted on the Jersey City data portal. And we are also in receipt of the CCB resolution where they were approved, I believe, in December 12th, 2022. And then with that said, staff recommends approval with conditions outlined in my staff memo.
And council, you're okay with those conditions as well as, you know, it was testified to, but the exterior lighting only during business hours?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. I'll entertain a motion then.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve case number P22230-231 as it was presented to the board tonight with the conditions discussed tonight.
Okay, do I have a second for that motion?
Agreed.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Vice Chair Dr. Gonzalez,
I will be abstaining.
Commissioner Dr. Desai,
Doctor, we can't hear you.
I
Okay,
don't
we go.
appreciate, can you hear me?
We
Now
can
we
now.
can.
Thank you.
I don't appreciate it near the school, and I walk there, I see so many students passing by, and I'm going to vote no for it.
Commissioner Torres,
Okay, just real quickly, I guess this has nothing to do with my vote. I just want to make the statement to let them know that we are Jersey City residents all our lives. I do know the York Street project, and anybody that's involved with the York Street project, I tap my hat off to them. And I remember the York Street project before it was called the York Street project. There was like a family discussion all the time in my household about that whole things and the work that they do in that area. So I do tap my hat off for that, but has nothing to do with my vote. I want to be clear with that, but I do vote aye for this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cruz,
I vote aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Yeah, my vote is going to be aye. Best of luck. And they do meet all the criteria as far as distance from schools. And I appreciate their willingness to clean up that backyard as soon as they can. So it's an aye and good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. So much.
All right, let's move on to item 11. Case P22-198 is a conditional use for 550 to 560 Tunnelly Ave.
Promoted Kelly and Matt.
Good evening.
Good evening, council.
My name is Kelly Carey from Pashmanstein, Walter Hayden, appearing on behalf of the applicant, Kush Club, New Jersey LLC. We do have 3 witnesses, if we can just make sure we get them promoted. Hanouk Abraha, I think his name is just going to come up as Hanouk. We also have James Martine, and I believe he's on his wife's computer, so that's going to be Diane Giannone, Giannone. And then we have John McDonough. I see Matt Flynn is here, so I don't know if John's available or if Matt's gonna be here instead.
Your team is all here. John, and Matt, yeah, are also up here.
Terrific. Okay. As you said in the introduction, this is a conditional use application for another class 5 cannabis retail business at 550 to 560 Tunnelly Avenue in Jersey City. This property was a subject of a site plan approval that was already granted by the planning board back in October 1st, 2022. That was application number P22-119. This was an application for a brand new 2-story commercial retail and office building. Currently, that property is an assemblage of lots that are currently basically vacant. It was a used car storage area and really no improvements there. But like I said, it has been approved for a brand new building and Kush Club is going to be the tenant on the first floor of that once it's constructed. The property is in the highway commercial zone where cannabis retail is conditionally permitted, and it does satisfy all the other conditional use requirements. We concur with the staff report as to that issue, but the report did ask us to address a few things, and we will do that through the testimony. I'd like to start by bringing in the manager of Kush Club, Hanouk Abraha, if he can be brought up.
So counsel, just before we have the witness sworn, I am in receipt of your affidavit of publication proof of mailing, which did place this matter on the agenda for this evening, noticed it for the 5:30 start time, and it did include the link to the Zoom. Chairman, I've had the opportunity to review it. It does appear to be in order. So we're going to go ahead and mark that as A1 for purposes of the record.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Abraha, I will swear you in. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And if you could, just state and spell your name for us, please.
It's Hanouk Abraha, and it's Henok, last name Abraha.
Thank you.
Mr. Abraha, good evening. And you are a
He is the manager of the
manager of the facility. Okay, so you're not testifying as an expert in any fields, correct?
No.
Okay, go ahead then, sir.
Yeah, Hanouk, if you could, Mr. Abraha, if you could start by just giving some of your background. You're not technically an expert, but you do certainly have considerable background. If you can just let the board know what that is.
Sure. Thank you for taking the time to hear our presentation tonight. So my name is Hanouk Abraha, and I'm a cannabis retailer with operations in Washington State and Canada. I've been in the business since 2014. And our facilities are part of the communities we serve. We're a Black-owned business and we'll be an inclusive and good community partner.
Okay, can you, I'm going to share, if it's all right, do I have the ability to share? Share screen. I'm going to share the floor plan. There we go. Is everyone seeing the floor plan?
We can, yes.
Okay, good. So Mr. Abraha, if you could just, I'll use my cursor, if you can kind of walk everyone through. And for the board, because this property was fully approved by site plan just a few months ago, this is just the internal floor plan that'll be, fully reviewed by the building department as well. But this is just to give you an idea of how the business is going to operate. So we're going to ask Mr. Abraha to just go through this for you. If you want to walk through it, and I'll kind of highlight it with the cursor.
Okay. Yeah, where your cursor is now is about the middle of the unit, and that's going to be the entry point. It enters into a vestibule, which will be the entry exit for customers. It'll also be our ID checking before anyone can enter the retail floor. To the right, there is the customer area, and that is where we will have our display cases, our locked display cases, and our product for sale, as well as the bartenders. And then to the left is where we will have our vault, storage, and offices, all behind secured access doors.
And if you can address, we did submit with the application and you've already been approved by CCB. And your security and community activities plans and all have been fully vetted. But it does seem that the board likes to hear a bit about security. So if you can go through that. We have also submitted as part of the application, sort of a cleaned up security version of the security plan. As the board can imagine, we don't put everything out there on the website that is involves the security, because that would be a security problem if everybody knew exactly everything that's out there. But I know, Mr. Abram, you've been through this enough. You can explain to them what you're going to do here and what you've done at other properties that has worked.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a lot of experience in setting up stores and dealing with security. I would just say, like, to highlight the bigger points is the facility security, the product security, and then the consumer and staff security. So for the facility, we'll have alarm systems, obviously, with battery backups, glass break sensors, and sound activated monitoring. It's something that we use in different locations where if there's any type of noise or that comes outside of normal traffic, it activates the monitoring station, which is 24/7. Product security, so we have locked cases and display cases. We have restricted access areas, inventory procedures to make sure that everything is being tracked and traced, and then tracking software. For consumer and staff security, we will have an active security personnel, panic buttons, surveillance, 4K surveillance cameras, safe words, panic rooms, and reinforced doors in rooms. As stated before, we are going to have 24/7 monitoring, 365 days a year, and our backup recording will be 90 days. And then we'll also have employee awareness training, including distress words and mobile panic buttons. We always leave room for changes that we might need to make, and so we may make adjustments based on the recommendations from the local police department on things that we need to change.
Thank you. And as far as odor mitigation, it's one of the items on the list that was requested that you talk about. Have you had any experience with having odor issues with any of the facilities, and what are you going to do here?
The way that the product is, it's going to be sealed and delivered by to the facility. There'll be no on-site consumption, so it's there should be no odor. But we do have a carbon filter that we are working with the landlord to put into the HVAC system, and then so all of our facilities are pretty similar, where everything is sealed when it's received.
And you haven't had any issues with odor at the other facilities?
No.
And as far as noise, just because it was on the checklist as well, have you had any issues with noise? Do you expect to have any issues with noise here?
We don't. We're a traditional retail store, so we don't anticipate any noise issues.
And you agree to comply with all of the state and local requirements as to security, odor, and noise mitigation?
Absolutely.
As I said before, you have already received your CCB approval from Jersey City, October 17th, 2022. And that review included your community impacts, your workforce development, your labor peace agreement. But I understand you have some updates and you've done some additional community outreach that you wanted to share with the board. So if you want to go over that.
Right. So we've been doing a lot of community outreach. We recently held a job fair networking event. We got the restaurant across the street from our facility, our proposed facility, to agree to host the event. This allowed us to meet some of the community as well as business owners in the area. We're also working closely with Scores Reentry, which is a nonprofit providing assistance to those that were affected by incarceration. We recently helped sponsor their large Mother's Day event for mothers affected by incarceration. Over 100 people attended, and we were able to help them get donations for the event, as well as donating ourselves, and we volunteered and served at the event. We have other events planned with this group to serve this community. This just came up and they needed assistance, so that's why we worked on this one specifically. But and then finally, we have also partnered with Kismet of Kings and recently helped sponsor and attended their 10-year anniversary event. Kismet of Kings is one of Jersey City's after-school programs dedicated to empowering Black and Brown male students ages 11 to 18 from low-income and underserved neighborhoods. Their mission is to help these young men with essential mentorship, character development, and life skills training to prepare them for success in high school, college, and beyond. And we were recently added to Kismet of Kings Advisory Council, and we look forward to helping this organization provide a vital service to the city.
Thank you. Unless the board has anything else they want to hear from this witness, I would move on, but he is available for questions on anything else that you might be interested in.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions for this witness. Anybody else? All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Our second witness is James Martin. He's the owner of the property, the contractor. I don't see, though, his name up here. He's in as Diane Giannone. Maybe, Jim, if you can hear me, raise your hand. It might help them if you know, on the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
I
screen.
saw a DG. I'll promote DG. I thought John was covering. DG has declined, so
Yes, no, he just texted me, yes, DJ.
okay.
So I wanted to ask you if you want to be let in, Jim, just hit yes to be promoted.
Anything, Cam?
No.
All right, if we could, let's move on to another witness then and
All right,
get that rectified.
I can, yeah, we'll do the, I could actually have Hanook go over the part that I was going to have Jim go over.
Okay, great.
So Hanook, you're back. I was going to ask Mr. Martin, he's the owner of the property and his contract, he's the contractor. They're going to be, as I said, they've already received they've already received site plan approval. So I was just going to have him confirm that, you know, that there is a lease established with Kush Club. So Mr. Abraham, I'm sure you can confirm that you have a lease with the property owner.
Yes, we do.
Counsel, I don't know that that's necessary. Let's move on to Mr. Flynn's testimony.
Okay, very good. If the board doesn't have any issues on the site plan, we're good. Then we'll go to Mr. Flynn, or actually Mr. McDonough. I think you see him in there.
Well,
I don't know who
we're going to
is.
have architectural testimony, correct?
No, we were not going to have architectural. That's why I was going to have the contractor just go over the site plan that was already approved. That's where we had Mr. Martin to do.
Okay, I do have a question on the site plan that you're proposing though tonight. Do you have somebody that can speak to that?
That's Mr. Martin, who is the contractor who's building out the facility. But pull it up, but maybe I can get an answer for you.
Well, we would need his sworn testimony. He would have to be sworn in
We
as
gotta
an
get him on.
DG's not accepting the promotion and there's nobody else out there.
Okay, so Jim, if you can hear me, if you get, should be a blue button that says, do you accept the promotion? And you need to click it so that you can be let in. They're trying to get on. They're calling me, sorry. Okay. It's toward the bottom of the screen. There should be a pop-up. All right, do the hand rise again and see if they can let you in again.
Yeah, I'm promoting them, but they're not Accepting.
There should be something a pop-up. There you go. That's it. That's it.
Okay, I also promoted James Martine.
Thank you. All right. All right, Jim, now you got to unmute yourself and start your screen, start your video. I apologize.
Here's mute, Chloe. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, can you push the video to start?
Okay,
We
one
can see
second.
it.
I'm sorry.
All right, Mr. Martine, I just want to swear in before you speak, all right? If you can raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
James Martini, Marttine.
Thank you.
Mr. Martini, good evening. What are your qualifications tonight?
I'm a local builder and contractor and developer, born and raised in Jersey, North Bergen, Jersey City area.
And you're the owner of this property and the contractor for this project, correct?
I am the owner of the property and I am a licensed contractor in the state of New Jersey.
Okay, and that license is current tonight, sir?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we can qualify you as an expert as far as contracting. Go ahead with your testimony and I'll save my questions for last.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. This is the landscape lighting plan that was approved. That was approved by the board already. And I was just going to have Mr. Martine go through and just very briefly give you an outline of what's proposed, what's been approved at the property.
Council, this is from a previous approval, correct?
Correct, it's already been approved.
Okay, I don't think we need to go over a previous approval. If there's any improvements that are happening because of this application tonight, that's what we want to focus on.
No, there's only interior build out that's going to be done by reviewed by the building department. There's nothing exterior that's proposed.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on the exterior that they want to ask from a previous application?
No.
All right, council, what I'm looking for is an architect to go over why the back, I assume it's the back stairwell, as I look on the first floor plan, which is in your packet as sheet 1 of 1. There is a stairwell that looks like it's being blocked off. Can we get testimony about that?
The floor, I think from the floor plan that we were reviewing previously.
The first floor plan, yes. Sheet 1 of 1.
Yes, let me pull that back up, and I believe Mr. Martine can talk about it.
Okay, great.
Okay. Chairman, the middle doorway is for Kush Club. The left and right doorways are access for upstairs.
Mr. Martine, can you see the plan?
Yes, I can see the plan.
Okay, can we zoom in on the plan?
Kelly, can you zoom in on the plan?
I believe the chairman's question was about the back right corner.
Yeah,
And that's the staircase that's now on the screen to the left of the screen or to the right of the screen, Chairman?
that it's to the left of the screen.
Oh, other side? Okay.
These are both inside stairways, sir.
Okay, and these go to the second
floor, yes.
Testimony. Okay, so that's the only access to the second floor, correct? There's nothing through
Left
the...
and right, correct.
Okay. So there's no ADA access necessary for the upstairs?
No. They can have chair lifts put in if needed. We don't have a tenant for the second floor yet, So they can be chairlifted in if we need, or external elevator.
Okay,
I believe the code is that, this property is small enough, it's 3,000 square feet approximately per floor. I don't believe it was required initially, but as Mr. Martin said, it can be handled if necessary.
Okay, that's fine. My only question, it looked like from the detail that it references on the first floor plan notes that a new interior masonry wall will be referenced detail. New interior frame partition per detail 1, sheet 1. It looked like that stairwell originally entered the space and was being blocked off. So I'm assuming I am incorrect. As
Chairman,
someone
that is a fire blocking. That is a fire rated stairway. So it's made out of cinder block.
Okay, understood. And that's a 90-minute fire
Yes,
rate?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's my only question. It looked to me like that was going into the space and it was being blocked off. So if that's not the case, I have no other questions.
Thank you. I'm glad we were able to get Mr. Martin in for that.
Chairman Nyston,
Go ahead, Eddie.
I want to piggyback off of your question.
Go ahead.
Entrance on the storefront for the cannabis, that there's only one entrance going in from the front, and there's no other means of egress out of that space?
Not at this time, no. The building department and the architect and engineer, there's a double doorway, so it's under 3,000, it's about approximately 3,000 square feet. With that exit is sufficient.
There's that exit is sufficient as the only means of egress.
Well,
What you're saying.
And it's both, sir. It's a double door with a under 3,000 square feet. You only needed the one way in, one way out. So there's a double door. So they both would go to the right, one in, one out.
Is that your question, Ed? Does that
Yeah,
answer?
that's it. Yeah, I guess that. Well, it meets the code, then that's it.
Yeah, that is my understanding of the code as well.
Yep.
All right, anybody else, anything? Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm very sorry for the inconvenience with the computer.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
We're all learning 1 year at a time here.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too. All right, council, go ahead.
Our last witness then would be Matt Flynn.
Is it Matt or John?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm actually here, Kelly.
Oh, thank you. All right, then John.
All right. Hi, John. Do you swear any testimony you get tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
Sure. Hi there, everyone. My name is John McDonough. That's spelled MC, capital DONOUGH, and I'm the project planner.
Thank you.
Mr. McDonough, good to see a familiar face. We've qualified you in the past. Your license is current tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're qualified.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And Mr. McDonough, the board accepted you and I won't get in your way. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners. We conducted a standard planning analysis in connection with this application. Again, this property is in the HC Highway Commercial Zone where the use is a permitted conditional use. We've looked at the conditional use criteria and find that top to bottom, the application is in full conformance. All of the measures that would go in accordance with the conditional use are met here, from security, from odor mitigation, from social equity, job generation and the like. Again, all met here, separation standards, all being met and in full conformance with your ordinance requirements. Importantly, as the prior testimony indicated, I'm just going to pull up on my screen here. The site has excellent, bear with me while I get this up on my screen. Matt, do you have capability of throwing that up on the screen for me, that exhibit?
Everybody's technology will be a problem.
Just bear with me for 1 second.
Thank you. So we're going to see, Matt, can you enlarge that for everyone? Perfect. All right, thank you. So we're looking at the subject site in the middle of the photograph. This is a view of the property fronting on Connolly Avenue with a view looking due east towards the skyline in the background. You can see that this is a developed piece of property, partially developed, with an embankment in the rear that is both wooded and gives this site the advantage of slope, which provides separation from those residential uses behind. We know that Connolly Avenue is a major corridor here in the community, multi-lanes, offering excellent accessibility and connectivity to the regional and local road network. Again, this is a developed site, certainly underutilized in consideration of the HC highway commercial intent of the zone, and a site that has the advantage of good built-in buffering here, natural buffering to separate it from the residential uses. Next view is a view looking due south. You get a sense of the commercial nature of the uses that line the highway. Again, the residential is behind, but it is separated. And we have a site here that has been approved for a site plan of a building of approximately 6,056 square feet with 17 parking spaces. As you heard, there's not going to be any change to the site plan whatsoever. This is a simple retrofit or fit up for a permitted use that explicitly promotes the general welfare by its very nature as a permitted use. You can go to the next slide, Matt. Thanks. So we just flipped the view around here. This is a view looking north, again, to emphasize the commercial nature of the highway. Excellent compatibility and excellent separation by that mature vegetation and the horizontal separation with a site that is sunk relative to the surrounding land uses. Finally, the last view here is just a top down to show the developed nature of the site, the undeveloped nature of the site in the back, which has that good built-in separation from the adjacent uses. No change to the approved site plan. The permitted uses in the zone and the plethora of things that could go here include retail sales, services, eateries, nightclubs, bars, gas stations, and auto sales. So there's a wide variety of commercial uses that could go here. In terms of zone conformance, this project is in substantial conformance, in fact, full conformance with the requirements of the HC zone district. The application has received approval from the Jersey City Cannabis Control Board. And as you've heard through the testimony of the witnesses before me, operationally, functionally, architecturally, no new relief is needed. The approved site plan included relief for setbacks and for the parking location in the front yard. In terms of the justification here, by its very nature as a fully conforming, fully permitted use in conformance with all the conditions of the use and the requirements of the site plan. This is a clear case, what we would call a Pizzo-Manton case, that established that a fully conforming application shall be approved. It's not within the board's discretion as to whether this does or doesn't constitute good planning. Good planning is effectively cooked into the zoning controls, and when an application complies, then it is consistent with good planning. I actually lived that case. And again, it was an application that was denied on the grounds of not being consistent with good planning, even though it fully conformed. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and that's what the law says now. So the project positives are clear here. Reuse of underutilized commercial space, a permitted use that serves the general welfare. And based on all of the evidence and all of the testimony, all of the documents that have been submitted by our applicant here to safeguard the public, including that security plan, that odor mitigation plan, acoustic, social responsibility, social equity, job creation, and site suitability. Clearly, there will be no impacts of a substantially adverse nature here. And with that, this is an application that's spot on. is consistent with the law and should be approved. And with that, Kelly, that's all I have on direct.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. McDonough. I do have a question and it's only on your exhibit. I don't think that was included in our packet, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, so we'll mark it for evidence.
Okay, so let's mark that A2, and if you could, please send that to city planning just as part of the record.
And for the record, those photographs were all actually taken today, so I'll offer that they're as close to real time as possible. They're a fair and accurate representation of the sun.
You picked a very clear day to take those pictures. They were
Yeah.
pretty-
There hasn't been a
pretty
lot
good.
of those lately, Commissioner, so. we
Good
did
job.
okay.
All right, I have no questions for Mr. McDonough. Anybody else?
No,
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Council, the only question I would have left is, I don't know if you've heard previous applications tonight, that any illuminated signage would coincide with the hours of operation. They would not be lit after hours of operation.
That's not an issue. We'll certainly accept that as a condition, and the other 6 conditions that were in the staff review memo are also acceptable.
Okay, thank you. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to open it up for public comment. If you're here from the public and you'd like to comment on this application, please raise your hand. If you are calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hands.
Your Chair, I
Anybody?
see no public. I move to close the public.
second,
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Where are we? Francisco, do you have anything you want to add?
Nothing new. Just staff is in receipt of all required documents, and they've been posted on the Jersey City data portal. Staff recommends approval with conditions outlined in the staff report.
Okay, and council already agreed that they could comply with those conditions, so I would entertain a motion at this time.
I'd like to make a motion to approve case P22-198 as presented to the board tonight with conditions discussed.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval.
Vice Chair Dr. Gonzalez,
I will abstain.
Commissioner Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Yeah, I want to wish the applicant the best of luck, and I'm going to vote aye.
Motion carries 4 in favor, 1 abstain.
Okay, thank you,
very much
everybody.
for your time.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to item 12 is case
good.
P23-040. Mr. Martini, you're still live there. Okay. I'm sorry, we were on item 12, case P23-040 is preliminary and a final major site plan and conditional use for 270 Newark Avenue.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I have an announcement. There were 2 requests to carry between the cases. So if you don't mind, I'll just make them real quick. So item 29 on the agenda, that's case P23-012, address 3447 Kennedy Boulevard. They've requested to carry to May 23rd with preservation of notice. And the other one is on Van Ripon. Let me get to it. That is, yeah, it's item 25 on the agenda. Case P22-229, address is 46 Van Ripon Avenue. They've requested to carry with preservation of notice to May 23rd as well. Okay, sorry about that.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Okay, and who should I promote for this?
Hi, Cameron. How are you? Yeah, so Lawrence Hardnico from CSG for the applicant this evening. We have 2 witnesses and a representative of the applicant to be promoted if possible. Raj Mudhar as a representative of the applicant, as well as Ankita Shah. If you can find those. And then we have an architect as well, John Nastasi.
You said John Mondry?
No, I said Raj Mudhar,
Oh, okay.
Mudhar, last name.
Okay, never mind. Everyone's.
Okay.
All right, council, good evening.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. Again, for the record, Lawrence Hardenico of Kiesa Shahinian and John Tomasi here on behalf of the applicant Bud Space LLC this evening. As Mr. Chair mentioned, the applicant's here this evening seeking preliminary and final site plan approval to construct a two-story building on the property located at 270 Newark Avenue and designated as block 11,010 lot 4 on the tax maps of the city of Jersey City. The applicant is also here this evening seeking approval from the planning board in connection with its proposed use of that building. More specifically, the applicant proposes to operate a Class 5 cannabis retail facility on the ground floor of that building with ancillary office space for that use to be located on the second floor. As the board is aware, the operation of a cannabis retail facility is a permitted conditional use in the neighborhood commercial zone where the property is located. And the applicant will demonstrate that it complies or will comply with all of the required conditions of that use. Just a few background items before we begin. Prior to its appearance this evening before the planning board, the applicant appeared before the city's cannabis control board and received the board's favorable endorsement. To discuss our application, as mentioned in greater detail, we intend to call two witnesses, Raj Mudhar, a representative of the applicant who will testify as to operations, John Nastasi, our project architect from Nastasi Architects. We also have promoted with us another representative of the applicant to the extent that the board has any additional questions for her, Ms. Ankita Shah. We also have 3 additional witnesses available to testify to the extent the board has questions for them only. We'd like to keep our presentation as short as possible. We do have a civil engineer, Guy Lago Marcino of Optimize Engineering, Lee Klein of Klein Traffic Consulting, and Sam Bellamy of Dresner Robin Professional Planner, just to the extent the board has questions. And Mr. Alampi, just before we begin, we wanted to note for the record that we have published legal notice and provided the required notice to property owners and entities within 200 feet of the subject property. And we've provided our affidavit to city planning and would like to mark that as Exhibit A1 with your permission.
Thank you, Council Chairman. I am in receipt of the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 270 Newark Avenue. It does appear to be in order. We're going to mark it as A1 for purposes of the record.
Okay, thank
And
you.
Chairman, this one's a little bit different in the sense that there's a site plan in addition to the conditional use for the ground floor. But with that, Council, I think you're spot on in your analysis. I don't believe we're going to need to hear all the testimony of all the witnesses you just listed off, Mr. Klein, Mr. Bellamy, et cetera. So we'll leave that to the board's discretion as it unfolds.
Perfect. So if the board has no additional questions for me, we'd like to begin with Mr. Mudhar to testify.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Roger.
Council, we've marked the notices A1, so obviously anything that has been prepared for the presentation tonight but was not included in the package, we can continue to mark A2, et cetera, et cetera.
Perfect.
And then just have those submitted to city planning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hi, Raj, I'll swear you in if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes, I do.
All right, great. And could you state and spell your name, please?
Yes, it's Raj Mudhar, R-A-J. Last name is M-U-D-H-A-R.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mudhar, and you're testifying as
the owner of a management company.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mudhar, if you could start by just explaining to the board your affiliation with the applicant this evening.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hearing us out this evening. My affiliation with that application is I'm providing management service. The company's name is Green Buds Inc. And it was created a little bit over a year ago. And the service that we'll be providing is operational services.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Mudar, if you could just provide the board very briefly with your professional background?
Sure. So I have been affiliated with an ATC, a medical dispensary in New Jersey named Eastern Green Dispensary, which was granted an award in the end of 2021 from the 2019 round. Ever since December 2021, I have been hands-on in getting the operations of the ATC up and running, dealing with different vendors as well as contractors to get the facility operational.
Thank you. So generally, are you familiar with the general operations of a cannabis retail facility and the operations that are proposed to occur at this site?
Yes, and as well, just to elaborate on that, one of our members, our company members, is his name is Mukesh, and he is going to be an operational consultant who has about 5 years experience running a medical dispensary in Ohio.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get back to this facility. Can you provide the board with some general background regarding the applicant's proposed operations at this site?
Sure. So we are proposing a Class 5 retail at 270 Newark Avenue at the intersection of Monmouth and Newark Ave, which will be deemed to provide a sale of cannabis and cannabis products.
Thank you. And will that cannabis retail facility be operated in compliance with all applicable state and municipal regulations?
Yes.
Okay, and that facility, like you said, will operate at 270 Newark Avenue and not within a vehicle or movable structure, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Will the facility have an area where patrons can consume the cannabis that they purchase?
No.
And will the applicant post signage to that effect within the facility?
Yes.
And will the applicant also post signage regarding applicable age requirements and prohibition of cannabis use on city streets, sidewalks, and parks?
Yes. No soliciting will be or loitering will be allowed.
Okay. With respect to hours of operation, is it fair to say that the applicant will comply with the requirements set forth in the city code and will operate only between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. daily?
Yes.
Okay. And where within the facility, the proposed building, will the cannabis dispensary operations be located?
Ground floor.
And on that second floor, there is proposed to be what?
Only office space.
For the cannabis use, correct? For the cannabis facility? Ancillary office?
For the cannabis facility, yes.
Perfect, thank you. Just moving on briefly, operationally, let's discuss briefly how materials arrive at the site and how they'll be sold. Do materials arrive in prepackaged form?
Yes, they do.
And are they sold in that same prepackaged form?
Yes, they are.
How often would Bud Space expect to receive deliveries?
3 times a week.
3 times a week, okay. And just in terms of addressing commissioners, one item within one of the review letters received, the applicant did receive a comment letter dated May 1st from the City Transportation Department, which indicated that it would support a short-term loading zone in front of our facility on Newark Avenue. Mr. Mudar, will the applicant agree to incorporate this as part of its site plan and work with the city in connection with all related procedures to establish that zone?
Yes.
Okay. Once materials are delivered to the site, where are they stored?
They'll be stored in the vault.
Okay, and the vault is on site on the ground floor, correct?
Yes, on the ground floor.
Okay. Will materials be visible from the outside?
No, it will not. Our glass windows are frosted, so it's impossible to look through from the street.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's move on to how Bud Space will handle customer arrivals and wait times. Can you just walk us through the process of when a customer arrives at the facility, how that will work, and how Bud Space will handle customers?
Sure. A customer is going to enter the facility. They'll be greeted by a receptionist who will ask them for an identification. There will be a visual ID check as well as an identification scan, which then the data will be stored in our database. And once the ID has been scanned, our bud tenders, our dispensary technicians, are able to retrieve that guest list right away because it will be integrated with our POS. And as soon as that happens, the guest is checked in. he or she will be given access to the sales space.
Okay, thank you. So Bud Space will have security on site, correct?
Yes, the security will always be present in the main lobby area.
Okay, thank you. And security will also monitor and queuing inside and outside of the facility, correct?
Absolutely.
In the event that there is a long queue or Bud Space reaches capacity, how will the applicant handle that?
Sure. So if we reach capacity and we are not able to let any new customers enter, we will simply just suggest them to pre-order and select a time frame that will be given to them in the pre-order option. And once they select that, they're free to come in at that time and their product will be ready for them.
Okay, and am I correct that there's also some online ordering amenity available for potential customers?
Yes, there is.
Okay. And let's move on just to safety and security. Will Bud Space have security protocols in place for its operations?
Yes, we will.
And will that system comply with all the requirements established by the state of New Jersey and the city of Jersey City for cannabis facilities?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about just generally some of the features. I know, having listened to some of the prior cannabis applications, that the board did have some interest in some detail here. So we talked about security personnel being on hand, and that security personnel, are they checking IDs of patrons coming to the site?
No, they will not be. That will be the receptionist.
That's the receptionist. Okay, understood. But you will have security on site to monitor surveillance alarms and patrol the premises, monitor queuing.
Yes.
Okay. And will Bud Space have alarms in place?
Yes, we will.
And will those alarms detect unauthorized entry?
Yes.
How often will they be monitored?
Those alarms will be, well, we're going to be performing security checklist checks on the systems itself every week, once a week, and they will be monitored on a daily basis throughout the day, especially during operations, as well as when operations stop for the day.
Okay, so am I correct that the alarm system will be monitored basically 24/7,
Yes.
365 days a year?
Yep.
Okay. And that system, will that have a notification in place in the event that there is unauthorized entry?
Yes, it's a two-way notification. One is directly to the applicant, and the other is directly to local law enforcement.
Okay, perfect. And then will the interior and exterior of the facility be equipped with security devices as well?
Sure. So the facility will be equipped with access control doors, as well as motion sensors, 360 cameras, as well as exterior and exterior 8-megapixel cameras and interior 5-megapixel cameras that will be wide angled. We will also be having motion sensor. I think I mentioned that.
You did, yes. And will there be panic buttons as well?
There will be panic buttons throughout the offices as well as the POS area.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And that system again will be in continuous operation.
Yes, 24/7.
How long will data be available in the event that it needs to be retrieved?
That depends on our hard drive, but we will be well equipped for minimum 1 month.
Minimum 30 days.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's safe to say it'll be a lot longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, great. And then I know you indicated security would monitor queuing. Will it also ensure that the site is free of litter and debris and regularly sweep sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And in connection with your operations, will the applicant's security system be submitted to the city for its review and approval?
Yes, it will.
And will the applicant comply with any additional recommendations of the city police department to that proposed security plan?
Yes.
And just one additional item, do you have a vendor that you are working with on the design, the final design of that system?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yes, yes. Do you have is Bud Space working with a specific vendor in connection with the design of that security system?
I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. One more time, I'm so sorry.
No, that's quite all right. I just wanted you to inform the board as to whether the applicant was working with a specific company with regard to the design of its security.
Yes, the design was handled by Armstrong Security.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's move on to odor mitigation. Do you expect that the applicant's operations will result in cannabis odors emanating from the premises?
No, we do not, since all the package arrives sealed. And if a package arrives that is unsealed or the seal is broken, it is automatically returned to the manufacturer because that is not by regulation. We are not allowed to sell product that have a broken seal.
Got it. And even though you're not expecting any odor, is the applicant going to be installing equipment to mitigate any odor that might by chance occur?
Yeah, even though no smoking on premise is allowed, we will be installing and utilizing like a clean leaf air filtration system throughout the premise just for odor mitigation.
Thank you. And prior to operations, will the applicant's equipment be approved by the city's health department?
Yes.
Okay. One item in the staff memo that we received from city planning asked us to provide some brief information as to how refuse and trash will be handled at the site. Can you address that, please?
Yeah, sure. So it'll be city garbage. I believe it's twice a week, as well as city recycling. And all those bins are going to be concealed and contained in our basement. And will be brought out on trash day and recycling day.
Okay, thank you. Is there signage proposed in connection with the facility?
Sorry?
Oh, I asked if there was signage proposed in connection with the facility.
Yes.
Okay, and that's something that we'll have our architect address. Let's move on to just a few other items. The applicant appeared before the Cannabis Control Board in September 2022, is that correct?
Yes.
And did the Cannabis Control Board approve the application?
Yes.
If granted a license by the city, will Bud Space abide by all the terms and conditions of that license?
Yes.
Okay. And as I mentioned during my introduction, operation of a cannabis retail facility is a permitted conditional use within the NC zone. And as you may have heard during some of the prior applications, there are some distance requirements. Is the main entry of the proposed facility at least 200 feet from any school identified on the city's drug-free school zone and park zone map?
Yes.
And is the main entry of the facility separated from another cannabis retail facility by at least 600 feet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And has Bud Space submitted an application for a state license?
Yes, we have.
And can you confirm that if a state license is issued, that Bud Space will abide by any applicable state regulations and requirements?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The last operational item requested by city planning in its review letter asked us to highlight for the board how Bud Space intends to have a positive impact on the community. Can you kind of address some of the items submitted to the board from your community impact statement and workforce labor job force plan?
Sure. So Bud Space will engage in community and diversity focused hiring and will seek to recruit candidates from disadvantaged and unprecedented communities, as well as individuals that would qualify for social equity business positions under New Jersey law. We will also partner with professional groups and organizations that promote diversity to reach these candidates. Once hired, Bud Space will provide competitive wages and support employees with continuous intensive training to its employees, and management will have a mentoring program for employees seeking advancement. We will also ensure that there is an inclusive and accepting environment, strict anti-harassment and discrimination policies, and as well as a labor peace agreement that was put in place.
So there is a labor peace agreement, is that correct?
Yes.
And that is with the United Food and Commercial Workers Union Local 360?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any additional questions for Mr. Mudar. I'm not sure if the board has any questions at this point.
I have no questions for Mr. Menor. Anybody else?
I do have a question with the beginning of the testimony. The deliveries to the facility are going to be 3 times a week. I don't know if I heard you clearly saying it's going to be dropped off on York Avenue, the deliveries, or in front of the facility on York Avenue, Monmouth Street, or is it going to be off of Monmouth? Monmouth Street?
Well, actually, Commissioner Torres, I had mentioned, just to kind of clear it up, we had received a comment letter from the city transportation department indicating that it would support a short-term loading zone in front of the proposed facility on Newark Avenue. And the applicant is certainly willing to work with the city in order to incorporate that as part of its site plan. So that would be where product would be delivered.
Because that is, because that street right there before Monmouth has parking. Once you cross to where your building is, there is no parking. It's just the same road that goes, and it's always backed up with traffic at certain hours of the day because there's no lane to pull over on that one. Actually, and it's just that block.
Oh, yeah, you
Really.
know what? I'm gonna go ahead and wait on
I don't see how anything is stopped there unless there's a cutout or something for it. You're not proposing any cutout, are you?
We will obviously work with the city in terms of what they would like to see as far as the loading zone that they would support in front of our facility. And I'm sure that there will be, in terms of applicable delivery times, that would need to be complied with.
What do you expect size truck to deliver? How big of a truck are we talking about? We're not talking about tractor trailers, are we?
No, they're generally they're generally vans.
Vans.
Sprinter vans. Big.
Okay, that's what I was hoping you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically, I grew up in that neighborhood, so it's basically once you're at Metro phone service on the east side of Newark Avenue, Monmouth, that's the last parking spot. And then it becomes only street, no space for any cars to be pulled over on that block. Across the street, on the north side, you do have parking spaces. On the south side of that Newark Avenue, you don't. It's going west. So I do not see how anything is stopped there. Not even for a couple of minutes without backing up traffic. I just brought it up because I heard you mention it, and I was like, okay, how is that going to be possible? You know, and I don't see anything that ever stop there. We deal with the buses that go through that part of the neighborhood. You might have to stop on Newark Ave on Monmouth Street. But once again, you said that you're going to talk with engineering about that.
Absolutely, yeah, the city transportation department will certainly work with them as far as what they want to see in terms of the loading zone and
do
its
whatever
appropriate
they
location. Yes, sir.
Okay, if staff's okay with that, then that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'd like to move on to our next witness with permission of the board, John Nastasi of Nastasi Architects.
Sure.
Hi, John, I'll swear you in. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name, please?
John Nastasi, Nastasi.
Thank you.
Mr. Nastasi, good evening. It's been a while, but we've qualified you in the past. Your license is current tonight in New Jersey?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're qualified.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to share my screen and for the board's edification, I'm going to go through a 12-slide presentation, which is a synopsis of the drawings already submitted to the board. I don't know if we want to bring these in as additional evidence, but there's nothing new. This is all sort of information that's already been submitted.
Mr. Nastasi, if I could just back you up for 1 second. Did you prepare the architectural plan submitted to the board this evening?
I have.
You have, okay. And in connection with that slide, that 12-slide presentation that you have, is there anything highlighted or any directional arrows or something like that that would provide further clarification or assist the board in understanding our proposed site improvements? There is. That if at all, I think it would probably make sense, Mr. Alampi, unless you disagree, to mark this as Exhibit A2.
Let's go ahead and mark it, Council A2.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. So I will jump in As mentioned earlier, we're here for we're here for site plan approval as well as conditional use approval. And we're starting with the empty lot at 270 Newark Avenue, which is the corner of Newark and Monmouth. And the lot is 1,931 square feet, and it's in the neighborhood commercial district. What we're proposing is a building that occupies the corner. It's a two-story building, commercial building for the Bud Space Cannabis facility. And what we're proposing is meets all the site plan requirements, the as of right requirements for site plan approval. The building, as many of you probably are aware, the lot is an empty lot and neighbored by buildings on either side. And what we're proposing is a low two-story red brick building that sort of stitches into the contextual fabric of the neighborhood. The Bud Space facility will occupy the ground floor behind acid etched glass so that the public cannot view the product. And then the staff of Bud Space will have their designated offices on the second floor. And then we have a private roof terrace only for the employees of Bud Space and not for the public. The basement floor is for storage only. And we have an elevator and a stair that takes you down, two stairs that take you down to that space. And the users will use this only for storage for the business. The building or the Bud Space facility is mostly on the ground floor. The public can only access the ground floor, and they access off of the corner on Newark. And as shown in this architectural plan, as you enter into the building, you sort of have an airlock and a security area where you're met by two employees. And as mentioned by my client earlier, you'll be screened for identification. And then once you're screened, you will move into the facility. The next plan, this plan, shows how you circulate through the facility. So once you're past your identification, you then allow to queue in this path around these locked display cases so that the customers can see the product locked behind the cases, and then they arrive at the service counter where staff will take care of your requests and deliver product. And once you've been given your product, you will exit out the door on Monmouth. As you could see, we allow people to queue, we allow customers to exit, and then we don't sort of stumble upon each other. The other thing to notice about this plan is that in this gray area is sort of the back of house. So we have locked storage, locked vault, and then locked customer service area, and at no point can the public access that area. When you go up to the mezzanine on the second floor, it's really a mezzanine in that it only occupies half of the floor space. The customer service area is a two-story space, while the mezzanine is over the vault and the private offices. And then it gives the Bud Space staff a place to have a desk, computer, private bathrooms, etc. And then up on the roof is a small private terrace for the staff, and that wrapped by a green roofing trays. And it's important to note that this green roof fully complies with the requirements for site plan approval. The building, as I mentioned, is a red brick building so that it can be stitched into the urban fabric of downtown Jersey City. And I'm showing here in this rendering the sample of standard red brick, gray metal panels, acid etched glass for the ground floor, and then a featured green textured metal panel, which serves as sort of a band, which will double as signage. And the 12th and last image that I'll show is a view from Monmouth looking west. And you could see our building sort of ties into the local scale and character of the neighborhood, yet it kind of stands out as a commercial building and sort of in a dignified way occupies the corner. And the only thing I'll go back is signage is proposed on this metal frieze at the corner, and we're fully compliant with the requirements of the signage ordinance. And I think that's pretty much my architectural presentation.
Thank you. Just a few minor questions to follow this through. There are no parking spaces proposed on site, correct?
Correct.
Is there street parking? I believe Mr. Torres mentioned it, but is there street parking in the area?
Yes.
Okay, and in terms of bicycle parking, is there any proposed on our site plan?
There's none proposed, but I think you'll probably mention that there was a note in our review letter that would we be willing to put a bicycle rack in the public right of way outside of this facility. And I think obviously the owner will be very much interested in that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The applicant would comply with that, yes. And then is the applicant proposing new sidewalk?
Yes,
And will that sidewalk conform with city standard design guidelines?
of course, yes.
Okay, and just a few quick items on landscaping and lighting. Can you confirm that the property is compliant with the green area ratio requirements?
It is compliant.
And how many street trees are proposed?
4, I believe it's 4.
Okay, and is that the correct number in terms of what's required?
Yes,
And also compliance with distance requirements?
yes,
Okay, in one of the comment letters, I believe again, it was the Department of Transportation. We were requested to move one of the street trees to not conflict with pedestrian lighting. Am I correct that the applicant will comply with that?
yes, we would comply with that request.
Okay, and if you could just very briefly for the board address on the lighting that's proposed in connection with this facility?
Yes, we're proposing some minor downlighting at the entry and then some wall washers or sconces on the brick pilasters of the facade, and that those lighting fixtures would comply with all lighting requirements for spillage and dark sky.
Okay, perfect. And just one additional question. There's no mechanical equipment proposed outside for power supply, cooling, or ventilation, correct?
Correct,
Okay, so there's no generator that the applicant's proposing here.
correct.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions for Mr. Nastasi.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nastasi. I believe the board chair would appreciate those bike racks as well. So I'd like to see them happen. So the retail sign, there's no illumination on the retail sign itself?
We're proposing some downlighting at the entry, and I think we haven't gotten into the architectural details of the signage, but I have to think those letters will have to be illuminated.
Okay, so we would ask for a condition that those letters would be off during non-operational hours of the business?
Yes, we would agree with that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I have no other questions. Anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Nastasi. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That concludes our witnesses, unless, of course, as I previously mentioned, if you have questions regarding our traffic report, we have our planner here as well, and our civil engineer. We don't think it's necessary, but to the extent you have questions, we're happy to address them.
Agreed, counsel. I don't think we need the testimony, but we'll reserve that right. But at this time, I'd like to get it open for public comment. If anybody's here from the public that wants to comment on this application, please raise your hand. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Promoting Alfredo Muniz.
Hi, Alfredo. I'll just swear you in before you speak. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And you just got to unmute.
I swear.
And can you state and spell your name for us and give us your home address, please?
Sure. Alfredo Munoz, ALFREDO MUNOZ, 328 3rd Street.
Thanks.
Good evening, sir. We have 3 minutes for you.
Perfect. So I have some questions and some concerns. My first concerns are in regards with the usage that we are discussing today. Based on the floor plan that Mr. Nastasi showed, seems like the service door is in Monmouth. And as you all probably know, and if that's not the case, I invite you to walk around. There is a church, it's called Riverside Church, I believe, right in front of the site. And there are a lot of kids playing on a day-to-day basis. Today itself, there were several, like maybe 4 or 5-year-old kids playing in that parking in the church. And that happens extremely often. At the same time, it is my understanding, based on the information shared today, that the signage will be overlooking Plaza, which is my understanding is called Salvatore Lambrase Memorial Plaza, which I understand is a park. So that is a concern because it's, I believe, less than 100 feet, probably less than 50 feet, both to the church and the area where the kids play on a frequent basis and the park. That is in regards with the usage. I have some comments and questions about the actual planning. It is my understanding, and I would love to hear from Mr. Nastasi, that the site is smaller than a site that is allowed for development. So I would like to get some clarifications on that. I would like to understand if there is a minimum plot coverage ratio, how does the site solve that, especially on the ground floor, and the setbacks from the rest of the buildings. It is my understanding from the information shared today that there are no setbacks at all. And at the same time, I would like to understand the parking requirements. It is my understanding from the information shared that there's going to be offices in the second floor, which is also my understanding as per planning, that anything that requires offices has to have on-site parking. We are all familiar with the area. We know the parking around the building is residence for parking. That means that, as discussed already today, there is no in the facility any parking provided, which could negatively affect the parking to the neighbors that are living in the area. So I think I pretty much covered all the topics that I had. Again, serious concerns about the usage due to the close proximity to where kids are, to the church and to a park, and questions or concerns about the solution that has been done or has been explained today in regards with development and planning and zoning for the size of the plot, the parking requirements, and the plot coverage ratio and setbacks from the rest of the buildings. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Munoz. We appreciate it. All right, Mr. Nastasi, do you want to address any of those questions?
Yes, I'm going to, I'll reshare my screen
Sure.
for Mr. Munoz, and then we have, there we go. The requirements for the neighborhood commercial massing propose a 15% setback in each of these two dimensions, and our building is actually it's actually a diagram of exactly what's allowed. So what I did when I set the massing for the building is to directly follow the line by line requirements, which is why we have this very small open space in the back, because it has to be 15% of each of these two dimensions. And that was a result of the planning. If I go to the functional floor plan, the entry of the building is on Newark and the exit of the building is on Monmouth. And we're doing that so that we collect people this way. And then once the customer has his product, they leave individually here. And we're trying to keep unclutter the entry. So we're separating entry from exit. And that was the reason for doing that.
What about the service door? I understand, as you mentioned, that the service door is there as shown in the drawings, and makes sense also because you are having right next to the vertical transportation. But again, that service door is right in front of the parking of the church where kids play on a day-to-day basis.
When you say service door, do you mean this door or do you mean the fire stair door?
Well, I'm reading service door. I understand that's for the loading that we discussed before, right? It is my understanding that that's what you mean by service door, considering that the elevator is in that corridor. So you probably expect the maintenance and the loading of the different products to be from that door.
Well, I think my client testified that deliveries would come on Newark Street, right? And this door is only in the event of somebody leaving the fire stair. So this door will be relatively inactive for the majority of the time. And then this exit door is only when customers are leaving. So, I mean, I think in a neighborhood commercial district, I mean, I think this is sort of standard for a ground floor commercial space in the neighborhood commercial district.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Promoting Brandon Smith.
Hi, Brandon. I'll just swear you in if you could raise your right hand. You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give us your home address, please?
It's Brandon Smith, BRANDON SMITH. I live at 343 9th Street, Jersey City.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, sir. We have 3 minutes for you.
Sure. Similar concern and question to the gentleman before, and I don't think the question was ever answered of, is there any type of map or overlay that shows the distance from these doors to the church? And I believe the church has also a school or a daycare component to it that sits directly across the street from this building. The rendering that the architect showed actually showed what you would be seeing from that parking lot where all the kids play, of them looking directly at this this facility, this weed facility. So again, I would just like to voice the concerns about how close in proximity that is. And if it's not within the distance, I think the distance should be re-looked at, because I don't know how you can have something directly across the street that does not fall within the distance requirements for a building such as this. In general, I'm not against these types of facilities. However, I do think that we need to take into concern what the existing fabric of the neighborhood is with churches, schools, daycares, and parks. So if there's an overlay that shows how that distance is met, because I believe it's 1,000 feet to a school. I'm not sure for a church and how that's measured.
If I could just jump in very quickly, Mr. Chairman.
I just had, actually,
thanks.
Mr. Smith, is that the remainder of your comments?
Yes, at the moment, yeah.
Okay. For the moment or in total?
Well, I mean, the gentleman before also had the same concern, and I don't think it was addressed at all. So I'd just like to make sure that this is fully discussed and addressed.
Okay, we'll get it addressed for you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then that's all for me.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Matt, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to make sure that we got Mr. Smith's full comments.
Okay, apologize. I thought you were jumping in with expert testimony here. All right, counsel, go ahead if you want to
Sure.
address that.
Thank you. Yes, we do understand. Thank you for your comment. I'm not aware of there being any map as far as an overlay or distance calculation between this facility and a church. But I would like to note that the subject property is in compliance with all of the distance requirements set forth in the city's criteria with respect to distances between the facility and schools, as well as other cannabis retail facilities. So we are in fact in compliance with the ordinance. And with regard to the location near a playground, there will, as testified to by the applicant, be security on site, controlling access, and monitoring queuing and facility outside.
All right, thank you, council.
Voted Cecilia.
Hi, Cecilia. Before you speak, I'm just gonna swear you in if you can unmute. You swear any testimony you give tonight is gonna be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give us your address, please?
Sure. My name is Cecilia Panoso, Cecilia, and my last name is Panoso, Panozzo. I own an apartment at 327 3rd Street.
Thank you.
Ms. Spinoza, good evening. We have 3 minutes for you.
Thank you, sir. So I have a number of concerns in addition to the concerns that they were just stated. There's a school, there's a church, but in addition to that, there is a rooftop deck. And the applicants are saying that they're not going to have a client there, but I wonder how are they going to prevent their employees from having a break and smoking in the rooftop deck, right? There are buildings, there are kids living in that building, the smoke and the smell is not going to be fun. So what are they going to do to prevent that? How are they going to prevent the noise bothering the tenants the people living in that building that have been there for 12 years? And then the second thing that I'm concerned about is this is going to be open until 11 p.m. How are they going to prevent noise, loitering from people getting out of the store? Yeah, they can't use it inside the store, but they can just step out of the store and start doing it there. So how are they going to prevent this becoming a nuisance in that neighborhood?
All right, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Council, do you want to address?
We can certainly address. I also wanted to have Mr. Mudar address something as well. Mr. Mudar, can you confirm with respect to the roof deck operations that there would be no consumption by employees permitted on that rooftop?
Sure, yes. We will have strict no smoking, no drug use, and no alcohol policies in place for our employees. And those offenses are enough to be written up for, which we will not be taken lightly.
Correct. And am I correct that there's no on-site consumption permitted by patrons as well?
No, none whatsoever. And just to kind of answer the second question about 11 p.m., we don't have a set time where we will be open, but we will be inside the parameter that the city allows us, which is from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And the way we'll control that loitering is having guards present to make sure that there is no loitering taking place inside or outside the premise.
Thank you. And just one item that I wanted to address, we've certainly alluded to it before. This application is in fact compliant with all distance requirements set forth within the city code. This was certainly something that the city council had considered and thoroughly thought through when it adopted this ordinance, and we are in fact in compliance with that.
Definitely. And just to elaborate on that a little bit more, security will also have access to the cameras to monitor them for reference and monitoring purposes, just to make sure none of those things are taking place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, council.
Voted Bill.
Hi, Bill. Let me just swear you in before you speak. You raise your right hand. You swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
For the record, can you state and spell your name and give us your address, please?
Sure. First name William, last name Liu, Liu. I live at 333 3rd Street in Jersey City, which is adjacent to this proposed property.
Thank you.
Mr. Liu, good evening. We have 3 minutes for you, sir.
Awesome. First, thank you so much for taking the time to certainly hear out our concerns. I share a lot of the same concerns with what we've heard tonight. I appreciate, Mr. Nastasi, Mr. Mudar, Ms. Tardanico, as far as like wanting to get approval for this property. The challenge that I have is that they don't live here. The people who you're hearing right now, they do live in this area. And so the concern that I have is that, there are kids nearby, there are schools nearby. In fact, there are several schools nearby. Okay. And like, I don't know how this actually helps the neighborhood with regards to having a cannabis shop, having a rooftop deck where, we understand that, they don't intend to smoke, but in all likelihood, you're going to want to relax on the rooftop deck. Commissioner Torres actually brought up a really great point, something I didn't even actually think about. And that had to do with the fact that, they would be loading, unloading on Newark Avenue. Newark Avenue is actually, really congested as it is right now. And there's a garage entryway right there where I actually bring in my car, other people can bring in their cars as well. It's almost impossible right now to get your car in there because of all the traffic in there. Today, on this same block, there's a vape store, and that vape store actually has cars parking there. In that same area where there's obviously no parking spot, it's a single lane that cars naturally drive through. And so having a loading, unloading vehicle there is going to create more congestion and more inability for people to frankly park their cars. I'd like to understand in terms of how is this helping the neighborhood versus making it more challenging?
All right, thank you, Mr. Ross. We appreciate it.
Promoted the Vena break.
Hello again. I believe we swore in Bhavana before, correct?
Yes,
Are you're going to be doing the speaking right now?
yes, I and my husband Raja.
All right. Well, you guys will go one at a time. So if you want to go first, if you could just confirm that you are still under oath from earlier tonight.
Yes,
we are still.
I do.
Just one at a time, guys. Thank you.
One at a time, please, and we have 3 minutes for you.
I do.
Per each.
Yeah. So we have been living in this so I live in 333 3rd Street, and we have been living in this building for 9 years now. And we have a 5-year-old, and I share the same concerns as others and in this call have. In this
Building.
lane itself, there are 3 more vape and smoke shops. In this building, there are more than 6 kids under 5 that are living here. They use the same street, Newark Ave, to go to the school. The church that we were talking about, it has a learning center where infants from 3 months old to 5 or maybe 7 years old kids are there. It is just right on Monmouth Street.
So I just want to clarify the website.
I'm sorry, we only one at a time, and we have to swear you in separately.
Yeah. So I just want to summarize all of these concerns, and the main concern is the high number of smoke shops and the kind of. My main concern is how it could transform a family-oriented community into something which is becoming this. So this is my main concern from the people who are living in this neighborhood. And yeah, Raja, if you want to.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate your comments, and let's get the gentleman sworn in then.
Hi, I'm Raja.
Yeah, let me swear you in first. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
For the record now, can you state and spell your name and just give us your home address, please?
Yeah, my first name is Raja, R-A-J-A, and my last name is Jain, J-A-I-N. I live in 333 3rd Street, and our building will share the wall with the new retail store, like the cannabis store, Bud Space store, which is being proposed. I have a lot of concerns, the store is dangerously close to a lot of schools and kids. Our building alone has 7 kids, which are under 5-year-old. I have been living in this building for 9 years and in Jersey City for 16 years now. And I have seen the neighborhood transform a lot, like Hamilton Park, used to be pretty bad space, and now it's full of young kids. Also, the Riverside Church is it has a school element to it. The website itself is called riversideschool.jc.org. On their website, it's clearly stated that they have infants, toddlers, 2 years old, 3 years old, and 4 years old. And the open area where there is a basketball hoop where all those kids play is literally 15-20 feet away from this store. And that is also being shown in the construction map, which
the builder was showing, architecture was showing earlier in the meeting. So we have been on this call since 5:30 p.m. and every proposal has been a cannabis store. There is not even a single proposal of an ice cream store. Like forget about like toy store or a library. Every other proposal has been cannabis store. I don't understand what is this obsession with cannabis store. Like we have like a school literally like 0.2 miles. When I moved to this Jersey City neighborhood, it was like 4 out of 10. Now it's like 7 out of 10. Instead of like having like more like bookstores or toy stores, there are just like cannabis stores. Like on our block alone, we have our building, there is a vape store and there is a cannabis store now. I don't understand. This is where we want to go as a city.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr.
This
Chair, if I
board
could
is-
just for one. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you if you were going to.
That's okay. Yeah, I just want to address the reason that we're hearing so many cannabis applications. This board is mandated to hear applications that are brought before us. An ice cream store necessarily wouldn't come before us, but a cannabis application is a conditional use that needs a planning board's approval. So other types of businesses don't need our approval unless there's substantial change to the space. So that's the reason why there's so many cannabis applications. I would love to talk about ice cream shops all night. You know, we're almost 4 hours in. I have to give my court reporter a break here, but you know, I would love to discuss other things, but these are what's in front of us, and that's what we do. We hear applications based on what we need to hear. So I apologize that the whole front end of this meeting has been about cannabis retail, but you know, that's legally our responsibility. So counsel, if you want to address anything, go ahead.
Certainly, I just wanted to kind of reiterate for the record, again, we comply with the requirements set forth in the ordinance, requirements which the city council considered in detail and adopted. So, you know, I understand that folks have concerns about the use. That's not necessarily properly before this board, which I'm sure commissioners, you understand. You know, in adopting their ordinance and enacting certain distance requirements, the city council considered and addressed these concerns based on what it felt was appropriate. You know, and there is a distinction in the law on the treatment of schools and daycares, you know, for a reason. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, make that known for the record.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right, let's proceed with public comment. If there's anybody else that wants to comment from the public, please raise your hand. And if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Mr. Chair, I see no public. I move to, well, there's somebody there.
That's Mr. Smith. I believe we had his testimony already. We can only call you once for public testimony on each application, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chair, then in that case, I move to close the public.
Second it. Second
Okay,
it.
motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Matt, do you want to wrap us up?
Sure. So I'll just address some of the comments that maybe weren't addressed yet. There was a question about a parking standard in the NC zone. Parking requirements as far as minimum parking requirements for off-street parking spaces does not apply until a retail space is greater than 5,000 square feet. That includes office as well. Does not distinguish between office or retail space. This facility is only 1,800 square feet. There is also a question about distances. Again, I'll just reiterate what the council was saying, but distances from plazas or churches or daycare facilities, the ordinance does not require a distance from those facilities. There was a map prepared by staff, and this facility is more than 200 feet. Their front door is more than 200 feet from any school as determined by the Division of Engineering for Jersey City. We prepared a staff memo that was dated on the 2nd of this month, And we provided that to the commissioners as well as the applicant. There were 5 conditions should the board make a motion to approve this application that we would ask for the applicant to comply with. Has the applicant been able to review our memo, and will they be able to comply with those conditions?
Yes, and the applicant will be able to comply with those conditions.
Okay. There was also some discussion about on-street loading spaces as recommended by the Division of Transportation. Any on-street loading space would require an ordinance by City Council. So they would have to seek a loading space through that process, and should it be on Newark Avenue or Monmouth Street, that's something to be determined later down the line. At this time, it appears as though per their memo that they are recommending Newark Avenue. I think there were some good points brought up today, so perhaps there should be room left in that conversation as it proceeds to City Council. If there are any other questions for me, I am here, but they have put on the record, and to the satisfaction of staff, they meet the conditions of our local ordinance.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I have no questions. Anybody else before we move to a motion?
I would just like to make a comment to the staff that's coming to tell us, to the planning staff that, yeah, to consider working with the of not using York Avenue, because of the reason of the hardship on York Avenue, that there's not even a spot to park a car on that one block. Only those 4 houses, those 4 buildings on that block, the triangle, that has that condition. So I do hope that the staff will work with the applicant and hopefully see a different spot where they can have a loading area or in that situation. So wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Eddie. So also, council, the other condition, as we discussed tonight, was the operation hours of the signage, and you were compliant with that, so we appreciate
Yes,
that.
correct.
So I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve case P23-040 as presented to this board tonight with the conditions discussed tonight.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded for approval.
A motion approved with condition